Hey guys, welcome to the stream. We are about to begin this debate. Let me set up this link to the other StreamYard so I can get started. 2 seconds and I'm going to be in there.
All right, I'm gonna pull you guys down and then re-put you guys back up. Cool. We got Marta here. All right.
It's funny, and I think I was referred to as Marte Rules by another streamer. I think it was Potato, right? It's Marte Rayless, actually. That's how you say it. But rules sounds good. We can keep rules. You know, something for me and also for ye. So we can. All right, let's kick this shit off.
Right. I was just telling these guys, I'm gonna do just a quick little intro, welcome in, blah blah blah, and then kick it over to Tater for the rules.
Oh shit, he's running. The bee hasn't even. No, I was playing. All right, go ahead. Go ahead.
And then, yeah, that'll be it.
Sounds good, man. Glad to see Tyler and the Potato here for this event and this verbal exchange. It's going to be an interesting debate for sure. So,
yeah, definitely.
For sure.
All right. So, got a 3-minute intro song. It'll meet your guys on the way in or whatever, but then we'll go. I'm going to go ahead and go live if you guys are ready.
Yep.
I'm ready.
Cool.
They lie on TV, they cry when we call it. We ain't taking orders, we make the audit. This ain't safe space rap, this is open season. Let's go. They can't close the jar, we already broke the seal. Now the truth's out and it's looking real. Mic lit like a fuse and the beat's on blast. We don't kneel, we don't flinch, we don't move last. America first, no mask, no leash. We the voice in the static, the storm in the breach. It's the Jar Openers podcast, no chill, just heat. We don't do sheep, we don't repeat. They say stay quiet, we talk loud. Built for the storm, we don't back down. Yo, CNN crying, big tech spying. Career politicians still looting and lying. They sell the fear, we cut the wire. Cancel us, nah, we rise higher. Truth ain't dead, it's your shadow banned. But we bring receipts, they can't withstand. From the border to the bank, from the vote to the war. We expose every crack that they try to ignore. Jar Openers cracking open the lies. Pulling back curtains with red-pilled eyes. Trust the science, but can't define a woman. orange man bad. That's the whole damn sermon. Vote blue, stay poor, hate your flag, blame your race. Nah, miss us with the vape. Closing jar, we already broke the seal. Now the truth's out and it's looking real. Mic lit like a fuse and the beats on blast. We don't kneel, we don't flinch, we don't move last. America first, no mask, no leash. We the voice in the static, the storm in the breach. It's the jar openers podcast, no chill, just heat. We don't do sheep, we don't repeat. They say stay quiet, we talk loud. Built for the storm, we don't back down. It's not just a show, it's a battlefront live. Every mic is a mission and we thrive in the fight. They can't close the jar, we already broke the seal. Now the truth's out and it's looking real. Mic lit like a fuse and the beats on blast. We don't kneel, we don't flinch, we don't move last. America first, no mask, no leash. We the voice in the static, the storm in the breach. It's the jar off of these podcasts, no chill, just heat. We don't do sheep, we don't repeat. They say stay quiet, we talk loud. Built for the storm, we don't back down. It's not just a show, it's a battlefront live. Every mic is a mission and we thrive in the fight.
All right. What is up, everybody? Jar Openers Podcast. I got a special one for you tonight. We're going to have a little debate. So if you're here for the normal news show, I apologize, but we've been looking forward to this debate for a couple weeks now. We have a couple excellent debaters in store for you guys, Marte Raylis and Searkar. And so I'm not going to waste a whole lot of time with intros and stuff like that. I want to just go ahead and get you guys to the meat and potatoes. We're going to be moderated tonight by the Potato X, and I'm just going to kind of sit off to the side, chill, watch the chat, make sure everything goes off, properly. But we trust these guys. They know all the rules to YouTube and all that stuff. So without further ado, let's go ahead and pull these guys up. What's up, fellas?
Hey,
What's going on, fellas?
Appreciate you guys for being here. Been looking forward to this debate. Tonight's prompt is Black culture in the U.S. should be destroyed. Marte is the affirmative. Searkar. Is it Searkar or Searkar?
so it's Searkar with no R, but
Okay.
my old Twitch account from like 13 years ago when I used to stream League of Legends, I can't access it anymore. So
Oh,
kind of
gotcha.
added an R.
Searkar. All right. My bad.
Just rolling with it,
Yeah. So he'll be taking the opposition. And let's go ahead and kick you over to the Potato X and let's get her going.
Right on. Well, I thank both debaters for agreeing to participate. The goal of this discussion debate is clarity, not chaos, of course. Strong disagreement is welcome as long as it remains disciplined and respectful, and the following rules will apply. Stay on resolution, debate the agreed upon question, no shifting the scope. No personal attacks, critique arguments, not characters or motives. Respect timelines or time limits. No interruptions during time segments. If applicable, this is up to the debaters if the conversation becomes too hectic. And of course, your intros and your outros are uninterrupted. Answer direct questions. Answer questions clearly and concisely. When an answer yes or no, please answer the yes or no and then give your reason for why. Represent positions fairly. No straw man arguments. Clarify before rebutting if requested. Support factual claims. Distinguish facts from opinions. Verification requests go through the show host while the debate continues. Avoid logical fallacies. Of course, ad homs, whataboutisms, false dilemmas, and topic pivots may be flagged. and the moderator authority is final, and the moderator enforces structure, time, and conduct. And the timelines will go as follows. Opening statements, I believe they are 5 minutes apiece, right? Is that what we agreed upon? 5 minutes.
Sounds good to
5
me.
minutes uninterrupted.
You're making the rules.
That's fair. And then you guys have 5 minutes apiece to clarify the positions. So that can go 5 minute intro on the affirmative, and then the clarification, and then 5 minutes on the opposition, and then 5 minutes on the clarification. Or we can get through the intros and then go to the 5 minute clarifications per person. It's up to you guys. And then, of course, after that is the 45-minute total structured exchange, moderated cross discussion. And if we have to, we'll go to the 1 minute back and forth timed. And then 5 minutes each, uninterrupted closing statements. And then we have our question and answer segment of 30 minutes. If anyone in the audience wants to ask any questions, of course, the super chats will come first, take priority, and then anybody else. So please get those super chats in. And with that, I believe we'll start off with Marte, since he's the affirmative. And give me just a second to get the 5 minute timer. And I'll go ahead and start out on your voice.
Yes, let's get started. My name is Marte Reyes, and I'd like to thank the host and also the person on the sidelines, Tyler, as the aforementioned meat and potatoes, which is me being the meat, and we have a potato present in the other two constituents here. I'd like to begin this debate by stating that the common strain of contemporary Black American culture, having adopted Marxist frameworks after the cultural rupture of slavery, has proven maladaptive to modernity and requires deliberate replacement with norms emphasizing agency, family stability, and lower degeneracy to optimize outcomes for 2026. Mind you, this debate isn't about erasure of a past of Blacks. My opponent has made statements in the past stating that, oh, just because you're Black doesn't mean you know everything about being Black. While I'll concede that he is correct, that nobody can know everything from an absolutist premise, I am Black. Therefore, I'm going to go into why this needs to be destroyed. And when I talk about destruction, I'm talking about absolute removal. My opponent would have to tell me which cultural norms he would like to retain. If he says barbecues and things like this at the behest of baby deletions and gangbangs, crime shootings, single motherhood, everything else, barring us being 13% of the population and being 37% in leading the way in crime stats, which is utterly ridiculous. I'll present premise one. Cultural stripping was engineered, not accidental. Enslaved Africans arriving in the British colonies face systemic erasure. So if my opponent would like to tell me what culture, yes, we didn't have a culture to strip from us, but we're talking about the culture that we've adapted right now culturally. Premise two, what replaced the stripped culture was a conscious ideological import, Marxism, not organic evolution. This is post-1960s. Black Panther Party, manifestos, all these other things, rhetoric, BLM, as which I try to go ahead and do another debate with him, but he agreed with me on that prompt. So we're going to continue this Marxist trend with this. So premise three, the adopted framework is empirically non-optimal in 2026. Despite equality since 1964, trillions in targeted transfers and the removal of every formal barrier, the metrics remain stubborn. Black homicide, victimization still leads for all groups, as I've said before. Let's fast forward to premise four, the replacement with less degeneracy. Now, herein lies the answer. Is not erasure, it is selective cultural upgrade. No one proposes replacing Black people. We propose replacing the cultural operative system. Disregard the Marxist lens that externalizes all agencies. Retain the creativity that we've had, resilience and everything else. Should jazz and everything else go by the wayside and everything else a part of Black culture? Let's say that does go. Oh, we get to replace with something else. And herein lies the answer, because not only do I have a problem and a complaint, I have a formal solution. Blacks that import from outside the country into our country despise Black culture in the U.S. Now, if we can replace that with their roots in country using propagandization throughout our culture, I think that would be a great substitute. Now, I'm not saying that European culture would be a better optimal replacement, but it is better regardless. Now, my opponent is going to say, well, no, this is only selective for certain places in our culture. It's not a widespread thing. It is. because if me not being a part of that culture speaks up, I am then a coon. Jaden, the guy from the NBA that got fired for having Christian ideologies, the black community doesn't need to defend him because they appropriate BLM, Marxist ideologies, and also LGBTQ over all this. They'll go ahead and scream that, oh, these transformer people, you're pissing those off. But when it comes to Christian agendas and defending black people upon ourselves, trying to maintain a position, had he said something regarding Trump or said something about Charlie Kirk, the black community, and he got fired because he retaliated towards Trump or something like that, Charlie Kirk, they would have been burning buildings down, cars, trucks, and everything else, storming the streets. But instead, because he spoke out against LGBTQ, it's nothing, because the black culture has also adopted that as an ideology too. I'll concede my time because I want to get into the arguments.
All right. And Searkar, whenever you're ready. You're muted.
Just so we're clear, do I do sorry, I wasn't listening earlier. My rebuttal right now or my opening?
This will be your opening.
Okay, good.
Actually, it's up to you guys. I'll give it to you guys real quick. So would you like the rebuttal right now, or would you like the intros to go back and forth real quick?
I think rebuttal right now, just a quick.
That way it's fresh in your mind.
Is it interactive or is it just my side? Sorry, I should have been listening earlier.
The 5 minutes will be to clarify positions. So what you'll do is you'll ask Marte how his position, and he'll just clarify real quick. Is that okay? Marte, I'll let you go ahead and.
I have a form of disagreement with this, or some disagreement with this. What I would like to do is actually begin my opening. He does his opening, even though it may not be fresh. This is where you have to have some type of recall and this skilled debate. So, but he can cross-examine me after his intro. I don't mind doing that way. Yeah, that works.
Yeah, I'll do my opening.
Okay, go ahead and do your opening, and whenever you're ready, buddy.
I'm gonna slow it down a bit. There's a lot in there, actually more than I thought there would be as far as substance goes. The prompt, though, is not whether some bad norms exist in black communities, in my opinion. The prompt is whether black culture in the United States should be destroyed, which is very strict sense of the word, very not a liberal one, it's very loaded. Now, that is a much bigger claim, in my opinion. And my opponent will, it seems like to me, shrink it to the second, which is essentially narrowing it down to some really specific pathology. So a very loose opening of what he wants black culture to be, and it's going to become a very narrow idea of what black culture is whenever he's trying to essentially defend against what I'm going to say. Now, there's a problem here. Black culture is not synonymous with crime. It is not synonymous for fatherlessness. It's not synonymous with definitely Marxism, even though I have a feeling we're talking about Derek Bell or David Bell, can't remember, and his ties to the Frankfurt School, which are suspect of their own, but we'll get into that. It's not a synonym for every ugly statistic someone can pull off a screen and wave around with confidence. In my opinion, black culture in America was forged in a long and brutal history of enslavement. And they did not come, as Marte said earlier, as blank slates. They were creolized, as in they were made anew once they got to the United States. That is true. Slavery shattered languages for them. It shattered kinship and their inherited worlds. And also, we have to remember, Africans in and of themselves were not the same people either. They were not monolithic. Something to be of note as well. Out of that violence came a new social formation, though. We have family, worship, memory, music, speech, labor, and survival, in my opinion. Then emancipation came, and freedom was answered with Reconstruction's collapse. Black codes, convict leasing, debt peonage, and a legal order that kept turning black life into a target, a different brand of slavery, if one wants to think of the history. When you look at that wreckage, the wreckage that is the culture, I think he's making a basic category error here. He's making and taking outcomes that need explanation and pretending they need to explain themselves. He's taking wounds and calling them identity. Now, harmful subcultures can exist, of course, in my opinion. Can bad norms be criticized? Absolutely. The black on black violence we see in the day today is extreme. That's not something that we can just hand wave away. I will do that myself, like I just did, if needed. But that is not the same thing as saying an entire people's culture should be destroyed. That is a bait and switch. And once you see that, the whole case here, in my opinion, starts to feel a little bit wobbly. And my position is a little more simple. If my opponent wants to criticize conduct, then I'm going to let him name it. If he wants to criticize institutions, I'm going to let him name those institutions. He does not get to collapse, though, the entire historical culture into a pathology and then call that eradication of it wisdom. It's far from that. To me, that is not a serious analysis. It is just prejudice with a cleaner shirt. And that's my opening.
All right. And with that, we'll start our back and forth clarification questions. We'll start with Searkar. You can ask Marte, and then we'll go back, and we'll all start it on your voice.
Sure. So, a few things. I'd like Marte to really tell me what this common strain of Black culture actually accepts Marxism. I want him to name an actual leader, I guess, in this, one that actually is Marxist, okay? One that actually can, in my opinion, if we are going to say Marxist, at least can provably or reliably show some sort of tendril or connection there, okay? I also want to point out that are all blacks uniform in their thinking of these Marxist views?
Wait,
You
hold on.
mentioned the Black
Can we do one
Panthers.
claim at a time? One thing at a
Yeah.
time? Because you're going
Yeah.
on to number 2. Okay.
Oh, I
Yeah,
thought
you wanna
we were
give it-
doing like a 5-minute rebuttal thing, but yeah, you can take them one at a time.
Yeah, we'll do a 5-minute back and forth kind of just clarification. So
Okay.
just do one claim at a time. That way we can kind of
Sure.
get to the debate a little bit faster, hopefully.
So yeah, we'll start with the first one.
Okay, cool. When it comes to Marxist ideologies, like I can even point to BLM. Now, this could be a subset of Black culture. And yes, BLM did assimilate to a part of Black culture because by namesake, Black Lives Matter. In essence, the leader of this group, one of them,
Do you mind if I interrupt you really fast?
yeah, go ahead.
Are we talking about the organization or the movement?
We can say the organization and the movement.
Why would
because
we talk
one-
about the organization?
Well, when it came to the organization, the person, she identified as a Marxist. So we talk about
I don't
this.
know. Is that identifiably a way we can say all Black culture right now agrees
Hold on.
with that, or
I
even
have
knows
to
what
be able
that
to at
means?
least move from one thing and explain to the next and build a bridge, right? You have to
Sure.
let me finish. So when it came time for this person, she came out and identified herself as this. By extension, and when I say by extension, I can explain this. There were motives involved in this, in robbery, basically in broad daylight, her taking all this money, alluded to mansions being bought, things like this. Basically, all it was is just a stripping away of Black culture. The money was supposed to be spent towards Blacks and incentivizing Blacks to kind of like rebuild something. Now, I point
Again,
that
I'm going to interrupt you. I'm sorry. I'm going to interrupt you. The movement and the organization are vastly different things.
this was the organization.
Calling a
part of the
corrupt
organization.
person. I know
Yes.
the movement though is much bigger than the
No,
organization.
wait, I'm talking
itself,
about the
which was
organization.
corrupt.
I'm talking
I
about the
know. Why are we
organization
talking about that though?
because
are we
I'm
talking about one
the
corrupt person?
organization. Is
That
she
doesn't
not
represent
a
all
part,
Black people.
is she not a part of the conglomerate of Black Lives Matter?
She's Black.
Was she not identified as part of this movement?
Again, she did identify as part of the movement.
Did
but
she
the
not have a
Black Lives
position in
Matter
this movement?
movement was much bigger than
Did
her
she
organization.
have a position in the movement as well too?
Yeah, in the organization,
Okay,
correct.
so let me continue on with this tangent. So the thing with this
Does
is
a position mean you can now talk monolithically about all of Black people
does
inside of this
talking
movement?
over me mean that you're ever going to get your answer if you don't let me give you my answer?
I just feel like it's necessary for me to interrupt you here so we don't just gish gallop.
I'm not going to gish gallop. I'm heading straight towards what I'm talking about, but I'll never get there if you
Does
interrupt.
one position mean that you
I
can
had-
monolithically
Searkar.
represent the entire Black community?
Searkar, I had 2 words in and he came in. How will you ever know absent me getting to the 5th word?
I do interrupt people when I feel like they're wasting my
Right.
time. so-
Oh, you feel after 2 words, Searkar. You have
No,
to let
it's
me
been more than that.
finish. You have to let me
Okay.
finish answering your question to determine whether or not I'm going to gish gallop or not. You can't
Okay.
decide this whether
Continue.
2 words in. Nobody can do this unless you're clairvoyant or something like that.
I'm not clairvoyant, but
Right. Okay.
continue.
You concede on that. Good. one of many concessions to come. So anyways, back to this. What I'm saying though, Searkar, is going on to this, like I'm going to make this really concise and simple and plain for you. This person was one of many who represented the Black movement as it was to the organization. I'm talking about the organization. You want to talk about the movement. I'm talking about specifically just the organization. Well, what I'm going to do is I'm going to jump from this to that real quick and make it simple so we can move on with this and get past this. She was a Marxist. She robbed the community. And what happens is that's a reflection on the community in itself, because if you look down below that, highest crime rates, everything else, everybody's been following suit. This is a trend. It's not an isolated incident. This is a pattern in the Black community that keeps happening. That's why I pointed that out. That's the whole premise.
Do you mind if I interrupt you now?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. Okay. So how exactly was she Marxist? If the Black community is going to represent and follow suit, like you just said, what Marxist ideals and what is she appealing to?
She said she was a Marxist. So if I tell you I identify as this, and I identify with the ideological belief system of this, which she has, how can I not? She's not a Marxist.
Now, who is she appealing to? How are these Black people essentially going, I'm a Marxist too, following suit? What exactly is the ideology here? Where is she pulling from?
She's pulling from Marx. She cited this in her claims in the past. She cited Marx in the past. And also she said that this was a part of her belief system. That's all I need to prove. Moving forward with this moves off from the prompt, actually. That's all I wanted to say. Now we can get back to the real argument of the prompt.
That was actually our 5 minutes for the rebuttal on Searkar's part. So let me pull it back real quick. We didn't get many clarifications there. We just kind of got one through. How many do you have, Searkar?
I have four. I mean, if you're cool with going to maybe like 20 minutes,
I'm willing to go through them. I don't mind. I'm a good sport.
Yeah,
let's do it.
I'll give you guys both a couple of more minutes to try to get through it, and I'll go ahead and start it back up on your voice, Searkar.
Okay. So my other contention was you did mention incorrectly that Black people, when they came over from the transatlantic slave trade, right? They were creolized. They were essentially remade into something new. The entire cultures were destroyed. But are you aware that this has happened after the transatlantic slave trade brought people over? In fact, it's happened several times. Black culture in the U.S. has been destroyed over and over again many times. Are you aware of that?
Yeah, I agree. So if Black culture has been destroyed and it's not the original culture, what have we to lose if we destroy it and replace it with something more optimal?
No, we'll get to that. I just wanted to know if you were aware of it. Okay.
Yeah,
it is important. Continue. Now, the creolization, okay? You want to destroy it or replace Black culture, right? You want to essentially do something similar there?
Let me clarify this for you real quick. Current Black culture in its current iteration in 2026 in America, that Black culture, yes.
Okay, do you think it developed independently from the history of what it had to essentially, like the trials and tribulations? Do you think it developed independently, or do you think there's like a connection between Black culture and a long history of chattel slavery, Reconstruction era, post chattel slavery, more debt peonage, debt servitude? Do you think that has an effect or some sort of driving factor into Black culture? Or do you think it's just developed independently?
I'll actually concede on your point when we talk about chattel slavery, redlining, and all kinds of other things. You're talking about the crack epidemic and the
redlining is not even close to chattel slavery.
Oh, but no. I'm just saying, in a nutshell, a lot has been a contributing factor towards the culture as it is now.
So you don't think it developed independently, like in a vacuum, right?
I think that a lot of moving parts were integral into this. I think that there were some independent parts as well too.
That's good. I'm glad you agree there. Now, the last one,
big piece, yes.
You mentioned Blacks who immigrate to the U.S., but don't they just contribute to Black culture as well? Is this something that needs to be destroyed as well?
No, what you're talking about, you're actually, there's a little bit of overlap, but you're conflating the two. We're talking about U.S. American Black culture, and I actually stated in my opening statement that the Blacks coming here from Nigeria and other countries look at us as lazy. They
like
look
Jamaica,
at us as uncouth. Yeah, and I can go on. Yeah.
Okay, but doesn't that contribute to overall Black culture in the U.S.?
Actually, they don't want to adapt to our culture.
You
Hence,
think someone who immigrates from Nigeria doesn't contribute to U.S. black culture?
there's always
they're
going to be white. Look, every culture contributes to black. White people contribute to black culture. Every culture contributes to each other. There's going to be overlap. I agree with you. Yeah, I'll concede that too.
And that brings us to the end of that. That actually went over a little bit, so I'll give Marte. We're about 7.5 minutes is what you got for rebuttal time there. So I'll go ahead and get that set. Give me just a second. And I'll start whenever you're ready, buddy.
Yeah, so Searkar, I've got a couple questions. You've said in your statement to me, in your question to me, in your analysis of my, the way that I worded this and opened it up, stating that black culture has been destroyed several times. I agree with you wholeheartedly. We're on the same front when it comes to this. Let's say black culture does get destroyed again, but we find something more optimal, i.e. something like a culture from Nigeria, which actually melds us with our roots, something from Botswana, Africa, something like that. And we actually have a propagandization and we do away with the current culture as it is. What would be the negative if this should happen through propagandization?
Well, for one, there's no guarantee that the culture would be what you want exactly, because it's something that happens over time, right? Culture by definition is something that is an evolution, right? I don't think it's that simple. I feel like what you're advocating for here is lazy and doesn't really try to engage with the ideas of black culture, which honestly, there's a lot in black culture that is positive. I think in your opening, you did mention to me that you want me to try and give some. I mean, I can. There's quite a few.
Yeah, name
culture
positive things in black culture.
Sure. I mean, as it relates to, again, black history, we're going to have a big focus
history.
on...
They're two are not mutually exclusive, but go ahead.
I was just prefacing it wasn't that important.
It's fine.
But things like worship, churches in particular, in black culture are not just like a church that you would go to on a Sunday. They are literal worship sites in U.S. black culture. They became safe havens. They became schools. They became meeting places. I think that is a strong, if you are a Christian or you care about the church, that is a strong positive thing in black culture. You disagree?
Yeah, I wholeheartedly disagree with Western Christianity as it was. If you go to any church where a pastor has a Rolls Royce where his congregants are starving, like that's predominantly what happens. Church is more of a business than a religion in the West when it comes to black culture. We can see this. You look at your many prominent black preachers that have on the suits that cost more than...
Can I interrupt again?
Times. Go ahead.
How many black church leaders do you know throughout U.S. history owned fucking Rolls Royces?
We're talking about 2026 culture. We're not talking about history mainly. Let's go back to the prompt and talk about the cultural narratives.
History,
of black culture now.
Okay. Culture by definition, Marte. Culture by definition. If you look up the word, I want you to do it right now if you want. But
I want you
to tell me what it means.
Let's make a distinction between the
culture
two.
Is a snapshot of the historical elements of a society.
In this debate,
so if you want to get rid of history, you are doing something wrong.
Culture is a pattern of behavior, belief systems, and also not only this, but things that we have that are cyclical in society that we accept. And that's the form of acceptance is what we have as a cyclical.
Correct. Now, where are the cyclical Rolls Royces for black worshipers and black parish leaders?
Culture changes from time to time in history, does it not? Why would I go ahead and go back to history in reference to 2026 when I'm talking about now?
Because culture didn't just pop into existence in 2026, man.
Correct. Well, the culture that I'm having destroyed isn't the culture of yesteryear. That's the culture of 2026 today, i.e.
that is an important part of this. I need you to tell me exactly what black culture you want to get rid of. And if it starts to look so narrow that it's just, a pathological crime, things I don't like idea, then it's not going to be good enough, man.
No, these aren't things that I don't like. I'm talking about things that are detrimental to society, i.e. I'll bring up a couple things. Blacks make up 13% of the population, yet considering the fact that they contribute to 40% of the crimes which lead in the nation, is that a preference thing? That's not an I don't like thing. Was that detrimental to society?
Do you think criminality of black people popped into existence in 2026?
Cultures change from time to time. In 2026,
Can you
that
answer the
is
question?
his claim. That is what's happening now.
Can you answer the question?
No.
Do you think
Ebbed
the
and
criminality
flowed throughout
of
history.
black people, the criminality of black people in particular, has a long history after the Reconstruction era? Do you think that matters at all in this? I'm not going to excuse.
When
I'm
we're
big on
talking about
accountability. I
history,
don't like making excuses and
I'll
doing
even
victimhood
concede.
shit for people who do bad things. But
Look, I'll even concede. Before the 1950s, we had more nuclear families and everything else in society. Do I want that destroyed? This is the argument you're making. Should we destroy that too?
No, it's
No, we
not.
shouldn't destroy that. Well, no, I'm also adding that onto the argument to explain this a little bit better, because I'm not talking about destroying historical narratives or doing anything revisionist when it comes to history. I'm talking about 2026, where we've arrived here. This iteration of black culture, 2026, the prompt is right now. That's what I want.
Marte, you strike me as someone who's never read anything about this in your life. Do you know who Ira Berlin is?
No, go ahead.
Okay. So, or like Peter, Daniel Peter, any of these people? Do they ring a bell at all?
Let's say I don't. Can you tell me the relevance right now?
Because Marte, you're essentially telling me that you don't like the criminality of what black communities absolutely and factually do at higher rates right now in 2026. But just not that long ago, if I'm not mistaken, we just agreed that black culture did not develop independently. Now, after the Reconstruction era, there's a lot of historical writing on this from black people to white people, because history is something that we can look back on and analyze, right? Both of the people I just mentioned are historical writers. Ira Berlin is famous for writing Many Thousands Gone, as well as what is it called?
Searkar, can you kind of get to the point?
About the American migrations. I'm sorry, what?
I'm waiting for the point, though. What are you getting at? Can you summarize this a little bit for me?
Criminality in black communities is something that has a historical evolution to it after the Reconstruction period. So things like debt peonage and debt servitude, local law, and post-emancipation continuity heavily contributed to this. So what I want to ask you is it really black culture that was just progressed in a natural way, or is this something that was creolized once again
So hold on.
into black communities as a way of still enslaving them after chattel slavery was outlawed?
So I'll answer your question with a scenario. Let's say you have somebody that's a killer and they go ahead and kill somebody, and we're talking about motives now and how this came about. Let's say this person found out that his wife was sleeping with somebody, and that's why this person's dead in his bedroom. Now, let's revise this history and say that that person had a heart attack after seeing a scary husband come in, and he just happened to have a stroke. He didn't kill him, but the ending is still the same. The fact that I don't like the ending and the fact that we can prevent this death happening, I think that's ultimately the thing that we're talking about now. You're talking about.
Are you trying to talk about culture right now, or are you trying to talk about some individual single crime? What are we doing?
This isn't a singular thing that's happening. This is such a pattern that it's become a widespread epidemic. As a matter of fact, hold on, let me say this
There's
real
a
quick.
widespread epidemic of black men killing people because they slept with their wives.
15 seconds real quick, Searkar. We had more deaths in the last month than we've had in Iran. This tells you it's a problem when Iran is safer than Chicago and Atlanta. That's a massive problem.
I'm not saying you're wrong about the black violence existing. That's not the issue here.
Okay, then tell me what the issue is.
The issue here is that you think it just came up out of nowhere because black people are just naturally
never said it came out of nowhere.
What is happening here?
That never came out of my mouth.
How are you supposed to fix a systemic cultural thing if you don't have a systemic understanding of it?
How do we arrive at this saying that we've had a history of this being destroyed, and of course there was subversion and everything, and now you're telling me I'm saying that this came up out of nowhere? Is anybody else paying attention to this debate where I've ever uttered this?
You're acting as if black people just became violent and we need to fix it and destroy it.
If I don't say this, I'm acting like I just said something I never said. How does that make sense to you? I never said it, but I'm acting. What does it mean, Searkar?
I'm sorry. What were you going to say?
That actually ends our back and forth clarification. Marte, was there anything else that you needed to clarify real quick?
No, I see there's going to be some confusion, but I appreciate your moderation throughout this debate. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely, buddy. So with that, I'm actually going to kick it up with Tyler's okay. I think we're going to bring it up to like an hour back and forth. What do you think on that, Tyler?
That's fine with me. If it's okay with you guys, I feel like, yeah. I'm not.
You guys want an hour to go back and forth on that?
Yeah, we're gonna use an hour. That'll be good. Yeah, I'm free.
All right. So with that, we'll start our hour back and forth, and then we'll do our 30 minutes of question and answer for the audience. So again, if any super chats come in, they'll take precedence. Let's see. We'll just go back to Searkar, and you can start, and we'll just start with your voice, man.
Sure. Thanks. I want to, I think, probably pose a question, a little bit of tangential thing. Sorry, Marta, I know we were talking about something, but I want to make sure that because it's kind of relative, but I'm feeling a little bit of definitional drift here, okay? Which is that category area I mentioned earlier. So
go ahead.
When you say Black culture, okay, do you mean historical African-American culture, modern subculture? I think modern might be the one, but liberal ideology, welfare, dependence, do you mean criminal behavior?
I'll answer this by getting the host to read the prompt again. I know it sounds ridiculous, but Potato, can you read the prompt again?
You can go ahead and read that, Tyler.
Yeah, the prompt is Black culture in the U.S. should be destroyed.
So when we talk about the U.S., I'm talking about the U.S., and then I'll add in 2026, its current iteration right now. So you can throw out history. That's why we have to make this distinction. I'm not talking about destroying history.
Marte, I'm gonna repeat the question. I'm gonna repeat it really fast, okay? When you say Black culture, I know what you're trying to say right now. You're saying it's just U.S. Black history, but I asked you a bunch of different things.
Said U.S. Black history.
Do you think welfare is a part of that? Do you think dependence on welfare is part of that? Do you think criminal behavior is what you want to focus on? Are you saying that, like music, modern subculture music, or what exactly are you trying to say?
Let's clear this
all
up.
Connected, or that we want a few things?
Let's clear this up because you have a way of putting words in people's mouth, but I'm going to catch them before you even let me run on with this. You said you mean history. No, I'm not talking about the history. I'm talking about the present day, its current iteration. I'll repeat that again. The current iteration of Black culture in 2026. And I'll go ahead and define what I mean by current Black culture. I'm talking about the patterns of behavior. Overwhelmingly, and I'm making a generalization, this applies to even the less marginalized Black communities, because if anybody like me speaks up against this, we get called, you're acting white, you're a coon. ICE agents are being confronted and being called Uncle Toms. This is happening to where people who aren't disenfranchised in the Black community can't say shit because this Black community is crabs in a bucket, overwhelmingly generalizing.
There's a few things. There is a self-reinforcing thing or activity that happens that you're describing. You're 100% correct. If you are a part of a group that is subjugated, this is actually why immigrant Black communities have trouble mixing with the historical. By the way, culture is not possible without history. Once again, I don't know why I need to tell you the definition of that, but cannot have 2026 modern subculture without history. And it's meaningless. There's no culture to look at. Okay, I don't know why I have to keep defining that for you, because African American culture is still a part of modern U.S. subculture and Black African Americans, even if we tried to erase it all.
It's a really redundant.
What you said is true. There is a self-reinforcing eating that happens when there is a subjugated group, okay, or at least in this regard, one that feels they are, okay, a group that does feel like they are being oppressed. In history, that was very much true. If you go against that, there may be a self-reinforcing elimination that could be wrong with what you're describing. That is something that happens. Now, the point of my question, okay, was to try and get you to at least tell me what exactly in specific Black culture is in this conversation. Because again, it encompasses a lot of things. I know you've tried to tell me a few times and then I've said I put words in your mouth, but all I did was ask you a question again. And the main point I want to get across is, do you think they're connected? Or do you think it's like specific things? Are they all part of one ecosystem? Are they all connected? Like, how does Marxist show up in what you just said?
So let me clarify this. Let me clarify this. You did put words in my mouth because you said you meant history. No, never once did I say that. That's putting words in my mouth. And no, you didn't try. You did. But going back to this is what I'm referring to when it comes to Black culture. I did mention everything from the baby deletion. I don't know if I could say it on YouTube yet. The crime rates and everything else. We're all involved in this. And there's so much overlap. It affects other communities as well too. The educational system and more. It's so bad that we should delete it. I don't care if you want to say barbecues or all the good things you think. You didn't even name one good thing when I asked you. You said I'll name good things. You didn't proceed to never name a good thing about Black culture. Notice how we didn't name that, by the way.
I did. I named the worship one, but I mean,
that's one thing. That's your one thing. Is there anything else besides the worship?
I have a lot, Marte. Yeah.
Okay. Can you give me more than just that? Because the negatives far outweigh the positives that I see here.
I mean, I know because you're looking at it that way, man. If you stare at the ground long enough, you'll find dirt, Marte.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
If you look around society, you'll see why black people leave their own communities.
You mentioned the education system, Marte. Do Black culture, do they have really any control over the education system in the U.S. historically and now? We can't
have control. Yes, we do. We have a lot of control. We can vote.
How do local schools in the United States, historically and now, how do those schools get funded on the K through 12 level?
If you're talking about voting and you're talking about boots on the ground,
no, I'm talking about how funding goes to local schools, elementary schools, high schools. How does that happen in the U.S.?
Can we actually go? Can we reel this back a little bit? Because I know we're going to get lost in the weeds.
This is really relevant because you mentioned the education system. To me, it seems like you think Black culture and the education system there's a problem there. Right?
Yes, there. Okay, then let's dive into this.
I'm asking you, how do we fund schools, the education system in the U.S.?
Okay, now you're going to make this a debate about funding. Let's concede. I'll even throw this out, and I'll even adopt whatever you're saying and concede that Blacks don't know. Maybe it's getting co-opted. We'll just even assume that. But here's the problem with the educational system. Like I said, I'm conceding that, right? So we're not going to go down that road because I don't want to go into the weeds.
How do we fund them? How do we fund schools? What do we do? This is important.
Throw votes, boots on the ground, showing up for parent-teacher conferences, which dads are absent from Black homes.
Funding happens at a local level, Marte, okay? Funding happens by property taxes in the U.S.
Searkar, I'll even concede all that to you. You can have all this, right?
Okay. If you're conceding it, then let me just educate you a little, okay? So the one thing about I'm not trying to be patronizing. It's just it is important.
I'm not going to assume you're patronizing, but go ahead.
Again, I'm not trying to be. I was just trying to beat that preface. The narrative.
But how is that important?
Because property taxes fund schools. So if you want to have a good school if you want to have an education system that is good, you need to have high property value. Black communities do not have ownership or wealth or high property value.
No,
schools in Black communities do not get funded that well.
There's much more problem than just that.
But that grant money doesn't actually fix the systemic problem.
I realize. I'll even concede throwing money at the Black problem doesn't. We have an agreement here. Throwing money at Black people has never happened. The welfare system has run us into the ground. The problem with this is...
I studied econometrics, so I'm very aware of how giving people money.
I'll even agree with you, Searkar. I'll even concede on that point that if Black people do not put money and stake into property, guess what's going to happen? There's going to be a drought in funding that happens. I can actually recognize that and can see that point. Moving on from that, I wanted to get past that because we can get into the weeds very easily. Black homes are absent.
Black communities are all very poor, Marte. And the schools do not get funded, which means the access to be able to get jobs later is not there. Without
I'll tell you why that is.
System I'll tell you why that is. Black kids, then how are they going to systemically overcome this?
I'll tell you why that is, because propagandization through Black culture actually promotes Black women to be strong and baby mama culture, thus evacuating dads from the home. If the dad's not in the home, they lose a source of income, which actually could create the incentivization for the school funding system.
With the funding of schools.
You were roboting there for a second.
What does that do with the funding of schools?
Sorry,
my internet went a little.
Yeah, you're. I don't know if you're using EBT Wi-Fi like me, but yeah, go ahead. Can you restate what you were saying?
One second.
Good Lord.
He said 1 sec. He's trying to make sure everything's all good.
All right, man. I want to reel this back in on the prompt.
A little better.
So
I was going to say, let me ask Let me ask a moderation question.
Yeah, go ahead.
Let me ask how the funding of schools is pertinent to the Black culture. Is how are we attributing that to the Black culture? Let's start with that.
I'm actually separating it. That's my whole point. Marte earlier said that the education in Black culture, education system is failing. And
Well, hold on.
it's not controlled by Black people particularly, because it's controlled by different forces, ones that are actually systemically coercive. I mean, they're not like nefarious in a lot of ways, but they are producing outcomes that end up this way because of the historical past and how they were made, how they were designed,
Right,
because of this country's history.
But
I'll even
by
concede
arguing the lower taxes on Black families because of the way that they live, you're arguing against Black culture. That's
Yeah.
No, I never said lower taxes. I said that property value in Black communities is lower, and schools are funded not by a check from the government. They're funded by locality. They're funded by zip codes and the property values in those cities. So what that means is wealthy communities, which have historically, and it still produces the same outcome today because the historical nature of this doesn't just get to be hand waved away, is what makes a school wealthy, attract people who know what they're doing, know how to teach, and want to fucking live there.
Here's the problem.
When it comes to a Black community, no one wants to teach there if they are even Black and did well in school. Because one, they will not get paid. Two, they know that the kids there are going to be disadvantaged and suck because there's just not a lot of money running through those communities. Now, these are all socioeconomic drivers that do a lot of the pathologizing that Marte is saying, especially when it comes to criminality. But I'm trying to show here that his idea of education in Black culture is just fundamentally lazy. It's just lacking.
Okay, now can I talk? Because you were going on a tangent for a minute, and I was listening, by the way. Here's the angle that I'm going to go ahead and address right now. I can concede to you that there's a classist system at work right now, and there's disparity happening. My problem with the Black community, and I'm going to address this, can you actually address this and engage with the debate when it comes to this? Black fathers are absent from home, so that way when you have parent-teacher conferences, only strong Black women show up to this. Black women are least likely to fight and be aggressive. Well, actually, they're pretty masculine, but least likely than their masculine counterparts, which are male, to fight for different rules, different educational standards in the classroom, showing up to parent-teacher conferences, things like this. Now, we have a deficiency at homes right now with no Black fathers coming in. This is a cultural acceptance that Black women have accepted as far as Black culture. Where did the term baby mama and baby daddy come from? It came from Black culture. We need to eradicate this. This is systemic all across the board with Black people regardless. And that affects education. If there's no father in the home, there's no enforcement of education and homework at home or any of this stuff. You don't have any of this, barring the classist systemic issues that you brought up.
Okay. Are these something that could be driven more from, there's a few ways I want to approach this, but the main one I think would be these types of pathologizing you're doing. Again, I keep saying that word because it's what you're doing. You're hyper specific about criminalization, the nuclear family, and very honestly, they're important things in a young man's life or a young woman's life, right? I'm not going to hand wave that away because it's a reality. Now, the problem here is that
Correct.
You're attributing things incorrectly because a lot of these have.
Hear how I'm attributing things incorrectly. Go ahead and inform me.
Okay, I was going to. So a lot of these are primarily driven, at least if you've ever looked at the data outside of just arrest records, are primarily driven by socioeconomic conditions, right? If you look at poor, similarly, likewise, white communities, for instance, you might find this interesting, but in a similarly likewise community, a rural, or sorry, not a rural, but like a urban, suburban white kid who's in a poor community, and a likewise situation, a Black kid who's in a poor Black community, Black kids on average do better in the educational system, even though the disadvantages are very similar.
Can you show me the stats on this and the data? Can you back that up, actually?
Yeah, it's hyper specific though. Keep that in mind. So my claim here is not
a source. Can you show me a source? I'll even allow you to Google this and look this up.
I can show you it after. Is that fine?
Oh shit. Okay, so you don't have it. Okay, I'm just gonna assume you don't have it.
I do. Yeah, I just feel like you're just gonna derail me right now. And the point is actually I'm not making a big claim.
Real quick, that's why actually we send it to Tyler. So we can Google right now. It won't derail the conversation.
Yeah, there you
I'll
go.
do it as I'm talking.
Whatever you would like to Google, just tell Tyler, just mention it. We don't necessarily need to send anything. Just mention it right online, and Tyler will Google it. Once he finds it, then he'll interrupt us and give us that information. So we don't have to worry about that.
I'll type it in Google as I'm
Right.
giving it to.
Okay. So
and then
you're
send
actually
it to him
willing
so
to
he
look
can
this
look
up instead of wait. That's lazy to go ahead and say after the debate. But going on to this, I'd like to explain this. I'm not now.
Look,
My
man,
opponent
don't
says-
derail me. Don't derail me. I'm fine pulling up
when
the
are you gonna
source.
stop,
It's not a big deal
Searkar?
with me, bro.
How long
I
are you
wasn't
gonna
done.
go? Go ahead. Go ahead.
I wasn't done. This study is not going to prove that black kids are smarter. By the way, it's a very hyper specific claim.
Then why bring
about
it up?
Because it shows something about socioeconomic driving versus like your idea that black culture inherently is causing things like fatherlessness or like
Hey,
you
and
think
how's that
black people
causal
just
to my
want to
claim
be
that I
abandoned
made?
fathers?
How's that causal to the claim that I made, and how are they correlated and related?
Because
Explain
you're
to me
making
how
an
that is.
error here. You're attributing things that are driven primarily from something else than just evolution of black culture. There are
I never said
socioeconomic
that.
drivers here.
Searkar, you're pulling shit out of thin air. I never said I'm attributing this from that. I can actually explain this. And not only that, but you also made a misquote. You said I'm not.
When you make
I get
a
it
claim, you
from
are
stats.
implying that you are attributing
Okay,
it
you
to
can
that.
talk and
actually.
I don't interrupt, but you can do this all day. I'm not done yet.
I wasn't
Searkar.
even finished with the fucking study.
Are you ever going to get done? Go ahead. Let me know when you're done, Searkar. Go ahead.
Let each other finish. Let's go ahead and go on.
Okay, so it doesn't matter. The point is that socioeconomic conditions primarily drive what you're talking about more than just black culture. And if you don't know that, that's a you problem, not a me problem. Now I'm going to send him the study, I guess, but at this point, it's kind of not really relevant. It doesn't make big sweeping claims, but I'll send it to him. Okay.
So you're saying it's not relevant, but you're going to why bring it up then?
Because it shows that when there's likewise
let me get back to the
situations
prompt,
between
Searkar.
black kids who are poor and white kids who are poor in the same setting, black kids actually perform better in their educational opportunities.
You-
But if it would be an outlier on a small
because
study,
these are likewise similarly communities. That means like you're taking a closely urban white kid. I'm gonna give you the exact sentence here so you can actually find it because it's a very specific one. Okay, it's something that you can't take. You can't take the study and go further than what I'm saying though. This doesn't prove that black kids are smarter. Doesn't prove that they're more resourceful. What it does show is it isolates a control here to show that what Marte is trying to position here.
I don't
that
see
black
anything in the
culture is
private chat
somehow
yet.
failing in the educational system because of culture and not because of socioeconomic drivers. He's failing. That's what it's supposed to show.
I
That's all
don't
it's going to
see this
show.
pop up in the private chat. I look right now. I don't see it. I don't want to use Trust Me Bro as a source.
I haven't.
And the funny thing is, though, I asked for
relevance.
relevance. So, Tyler, I asked my debate opponent for relevance, and he said it's not relevant, but which refutes this whole case of bringing up. Can we move on back to the prompts here, Car? All this deflection,
yeah,
can
we
we at
can.
least engage with the debate later on?
yeah, if it's not a fairly large study, I don't know if we can use it.
Yeah,
as
it's irrelevant.
fact
He said
at
it.
that point in time.
He said it's irrelevant to himself. I'd like to move on. That's crazy.
Yeah, I was going to say let's
So it's
pull it
irrelevant to
back to the
making broad
prompt
sweeping claims.
and let's make a claim about the culture, because again, the way that funding goes, if we want to talk about the funding situation,
Sure.
it that's not really the culture. So I paused
Right.
the time.
Exactly.
but I'll go
That's
ahead
actually
and
my
pull
point, though. That's my
back
point.
to the prompt. Well,
Yeah, that's
No. Let me go ahead and rectify this real quick and provide
funding, not a socioeconomic.
When I
driver?
talk about education, I wasn't talking about from a socioeconomical standpoint. I'm talking about absentee fathers due to a cultural absence. And if you look at the stats, women
not
in this
education.
divorce. Hold on, I didn't even interrupt. I tried not to interrupt you. So
let him get through this, and then I've got
Yes,
the timer
Searkar.
paused to kind of get you guys back on track, and then we'll start the timer again.
thank
But
you.
let him get this out for real quick, and then I'll give you a minute to hit your part out, and then we'll start the timer. So go ahead, Marte.
Thank you. I appreciate that. So the relevance in mine's actually is relevant. Women initiate divorce at a rate of 61%. Guess what? Black culture.
You just went mute.
Lost your
Marte.
mic there.
Not sure what happened.
Is he good?
Not yet. Still it's still muted.
All right, let me see if I can
That
bring
looks
this
like
up. Give me
you're
one
good.
second. Can you guys hear me now or no?
clicked unmute.
Can you guys hear me
Yeah.
now or?
A little bit better now.
I don't know how it got me.
Okay, a little bit better. This
Yes,
is what I was
yeah.
getting at.
Yeah, I can hear you.
So this is the relevant point that I'm getting at. Black women initiate divorces at 79%. And when they do this, we have this acceptable normative culture of baby mamas, of strong Black women. This is seen in media, which is also integrated with culture. This is seen in news. This is seen in all kinds of culture. When you talk about this being co-opted, yes, I'll even agree with you. BET was co-opted and ran by a white person. Now, we could talk about the Jays all day and all this. It makes more of my argument that it should be destroyed and replaced with something more optimal. I actually have a solution here for you if you're ready for it, Searkar.
Okay.
I don't really think you're explaining anything. I think you're just kind of renaming selective pathology and saying it's a whole culture.
Absentee fathers is normative in the culture, is it not?
You think Black culture actually puts forth you should be an absentee father? Is that really your
No,
fucking
I
claim?
didn't
Right
say that. I said, is it normative and acceptable? If I told you right now, even stereotypes are driven from some derivative of truth, right? So if we talk about the memes that are on Black culture right now, you know, my Tyrone's dad went out to get.
No, this is good. This is good. Why is it
that
somewhat
normative in
normative
Black
or
culture?
accepted? No, why is it somewhat normative or accepted? Because they like it or because of something else?
Here's the thing, though. Let's say that they don't like it.
Answer the question. Answer the question.
I am answering the question. Let's say that they don't like this. I don't know inherently, like if I don't know overwhelmingly if they like it or not. Who knows? But women like it enough to initiate at a rate of 79%. And when they're doing this, this isn't being forced upon them. They're not being forced to do this overwhelmingly. Most of these divorces that happen when
Sorry,
the
there are
father
a lot of types of coercion and forces that aren't
No,
literally putting a gun to your head, Martin.
This is because I'm not happy with my current relationship. That's mainly this. This is just happiness, a happiness thing, right? This isn't because of abuse. This isn't because of rape or anything else like this. This is happiness.
Again, criminality and things like fatherlessness and a selected pathology.
Nobody brought up
like
criminality.
Things in what you'd see in Black culture, which are problems.
It's normative.
Okay.
In Black culture, is it not?
Finish.
Is it normative in Black culture?
Let me finish, Marte. All these things do not prove cultural badness for one. Okay? They really don't. You're not proving anything. You
I'm
are
not
literally
using minority.
blaming and you are renaming a selected pathology as a literal whole culture because it's advantageous to you.
No.
But it's not going to work. You're turning like different things like wounds, or even you didn't even try to engage with the idea of why I said maybe there's a different reason here than they actually like having abortions, Marte, or like having absentee fathers. You didn't even engage with that idea.
They're celebrating abortions. What are you talking about? They're literally, there's a hip hop video. There's hip hop videos out right now of them twerking in front of Planned Parenthood clinics. That in their head.
Same breath,
They like
able to say something like,
this
I
shit.
don't know what they're thinking, Marte. I don't know what they're thinking, or
Right.
if they
So
feel
why
like
would
it's
you
bad, but
ask
they are
why they-
celebrating abortions.
So
Right. Why would you ask what's going on in their head if I don't know? I'm not clairvoyant. Go ahead.
And how do you know they're celebrating abortions?
Because there's hip-hop music videos. There's 7 I could send you right now. And the likes are up in the millions, actually. Hundreds of thousands.
Music videos.
That's propagandization through media culture. Yes.
So we're kind of back on to culture.
Yes.
So have you guys cleared up? We're ready to start the timer again?
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Fine.
So you can guys go ahead and go back to it. Just make sure we're staying, one person at a time, or we'll have to start going to the time limits. Give each other a little bit of space so that we can all hear what's going on. And I'll go ahead and resume the timer.
So hold on, Tyler. I've seen this debate before with this guy plenty of times. I'd like to straight up go to timers so that way we can actually have a full debate, because there's a pattern that's being displayed here, and I don't want this to happen. This is also in other debates that I've seen with him. Can we go with timers? I'd like to do that. That's just my plea right now.
Yeah. That's fine by me. So we'll go back and forth minute at a time, just because that's a decent amount of time there. Give me just a second to get that minute up, and then Marte, you want the floor, it looks like.
Yeah, I'll take the floor.
Go ahead.
So when he's talking about this, he's making a definitional argument. I'm not even doing that right now. I'm making a cultural argument back to the claim of saying that these women are initiating most of the divorce. And he's saying, well, are they happy doing this? Well, clearly it's culturally accepted. You're never going to see any other race deleting their babies and having music videos about this. Hip hop is a part of Black culture, is it not? And because it's a part of Black culture, this is massively powerful. Destroying this is one head of the 17 head serpent that we're talking about. There's so much more that needs to be destroyed, and we're talking about salvaging the good. What, barbecues? Anyways, go ahead. I'll let you get your time in.
Okay, and I'll give you a minute. You're good to go.
It's a little weird to me that you think that you can actually describe Black culture without a definitional term to it. But I kind of want to just monologue for a second, maybe not even engage with what you said, because all of it's trash to me. It's literally irrelevant. So, I mean, the babies and music videos, I'm going to try and we're going to have a productive conversation here, okay? Because I don't give a fuck about them. Now, you're pointing to outcomes or you're pointing to moral shorthands, okay? Which are there. Things like criminality in the Black communities, as in like Black on Black crime, is a moral shorthand, and it is a truth. It is an assertion that is a fact. It is a problem. Now, Marte, we're having a discussion about Black culture as a whole, and this topic is more or less not just us going, wow, that's a bad thing. It's more about us trying to come to some causal explanation, right? Trying to understand the institutional trust aspect of this, the reasons behind it, the motives, the actual identity, the historical thing, because culture, again, can't have culture without history, of why these things exist. I don't really care about pointing to a crime and going, that's a bad thing, because it will tell you nothing about what to do in the future, what's happened in the past, and how to understand the present. Okay, Marte?
That's fine.
My opponent,
Marte, you've got your minute.
my opponent keeps bringing up history, yet we have immigrants that come from Nigeria, Botswana, Kenya, and they have their roots intact. They come here and there's a history. Why not replace it with that more optimal history? The people that think that we are lazy, surely there must be something more optimal, because when they come here, they outperform us in grades, they outperform us in work. Some of them are willing to work 3 jobs just to get a house and do everything else while Tyrone's on the couch. There's this big stigma that we have. Now, you say that you don't want to talk about baby mamas dancing and all this. Well, that's all cultural. All these are just labels. And where do labels come from? Stigmas. Where do stigmas and stereotypes come from? Truths that we have circulating Black culture. You say you don't want to describe all this. Well, all this is detrimental to society. You want to keep harping on criminality when no, I'm not talking about criminality purely per se, because abortions are legal in some states. Divorcing your husband because you're just not happy and you want to be a baby mama because you're a strong Black independent woman, legal. I can talk about the legal ramifications that are detrimental to Black communities as well too. You say you don't want to talk about that. Well, that's the heart of the discussion if we get down to it. There's so much more part and parcel when it comes to this. That's aside from criminality.
And that's time. Whenever you're ready, sir.
Did we lose his mic?
You good, Searkar?
Oh, he might be having an internet issue.
You with us?
Well, we're even. We both had audio issues at one point. So.
Right.
We can see you. We just can't hear you, brother.
Just know Searkar is still invited to the cookout regardless. I mean, because we're all, some of us coons are nice to everybody. Just letting you know.
No, we can't hear you yet. Can't hear you yet.
No,
we can see you, but we can't hear you.
Huh. Maybe exit and come back in if you have to. I know that helps sometimes. I don't know if it'll work this time or not, but.
Well, that's a demonstration of what Black baby daddies do. They vanish and then, just it's culturally formative. Let me stop.
Let's see.
See back in the backstage. He's like, I'm out, guys.
Here he goes.
Okay.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Everything just
There
crashed.
he is.
Ableton ruining my day.
Gotta love tech.
I heard
Alright.
most of it. Yeah, gotta love tech. Gotta love tech. I heard most of it though. Okay. So I can still respond.
Okay.
I mean, again, I don't really want to just hand wave away the fact that like subculture and black culture and criminality and things that abortion you think is a criminal act too. All these things exist, man. That's fine. I just don't think this is relevant to the topic. Okay. Again, I keep saying this, but you keep pathologizing single specific ideas of what you think black culture is. And one question I want to ask is, how many black people did actually immigrate to the U.S. before the years 1960 without, being forced to come here? Do you have any idea?
You have to say you concede your time or something like that before I can get in.
Okay, it's fine. I can see my time.
That's fair.
Yeah,
It's kind of my fault too. All
Professional.
right, Marte, whenever you're ready. Sorry about that.
So when you say that I'd like to talk about what I know about what black culture is and talk about this, we can talk about segments. If we're going to talk about a pie, we're going to talk about pieces of a pie to talk about the whole pie in order for us to get down there. Now, this is a massive pie that we're going to talk about. What you want to do is talk about, well, how many blacks were integrated into American systems, which are people. Systems are a group of people, a conglomerate of people. I don't want to get into that because that's actually going to be a diversion away from this. I need you to actually engage with the cultural aspect of this debate, Searkar. So for once, if you can do that, that'd be great. Back to culture. The thing is, if I talk about music videos, which you say you don't care about, which is a part of black culture, when I talk about abandoning homes of baby mamas kicking dads out, that's a part of culture. When I talk about everything else, I didn't say that abortions are part of crime. I said that was actually legal. I caught that. I don't know why you do this sometimes. Going back to this, can you address these parts in segments of black culture that need to be destroyed? When I talk about this, that's the destruction I'm talking about. Matter of fact, we can do a whole overhaul. What would be bad about that? You've never even answered that question.
It's time. Whenever you're ready.
Did. Yeah, I did answer it. Again, crime, family instability, educational collapse, antisocial subcultures, destructive media norms, all these things can be real. None of it yields the conclusion that black culture needs to be destroyed. They still need an explanation. You are just using numbers to be their own explanation. It's kind of, again, just lazy. This is not like a serious argument. It's an analytical shortcut disguised as an argument. And I didn't really say that I don't know. You keep saying I put words in your mouth. I just feel like it seemed like you thought that abortion was or should be a criminal act. I don't really know what you think. But if it's not, it's fine. I feel like this conversation is kind of going in circles a bit. So for this to be more like a little bit productive, okay? Maybe we should move on to something like, I think I've heard you talk about how black culture can be like a cult. And maybe we can talk about how that relates to Marxism and stuff, or just something a little bit new.
So that's time. So let's bring it back to the prompt, I guess. Marte, do you want to propose something to rebut that proposal?
Yes.
What do you got?
He had stated something. He said, well, Marte's talking about whether or not abortion's legal or not. Well, why don't you just ask me and listen next time? It just shows that you weren't listening to what I was saying. You say, I don't care during this whole debate. I don't care about that. Forget about all that. Let's get back to something else. It's because what you're doing is you're evading these issues that I've described that need to be destroyed. Part of that, and there's so much more, I would say black culture as a whole needs to be destroyed. You've never told me why it shouldn't be disintegrated from planet Earth and replaced with different black culture outside of the country through propagandization. You've never addressed this. What you're doing right now is saying, can we talk about something else? Because you never engaged in this argument about black culture needing to be destroyed, or what would be a negative thing about this. I've asked you time and time again, and you've given me a milquetoast response. Can you actually engage in the argument? If we destroy the culture of abortions, murder rates, fathers leaving the home through propagandization, even if it's through externalization of different roots of black culture from external sources from the country, because that's real black culture too. How is it not? How would this not be more optimal? That's the question I need to answer.
And Searkar,
Okay.
what was the question that you were proposing to start back on?
I'm going to engage with what he said first really fast, and then it was about moving to Black culture being a cult, relating to like what he thinks of the Marxist element, I guess, and how it coincides with liberalism. But
Okay. If you're willing
I
to,
kind of want to
engage
engage
with him,
with what he
that
said a
works.
little bit again. So my problem here is like you keep saying we need to destroy this Black culture, right? I mean, that's happened in the past. How exactly are we going to fix it? Do we take a sledgehammer to it right now, Marte? What exactly are you proposing here? Like when you
So do we
say we
wanna-
need to get rid of,
Go ahead. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
I mean, I'd like to get rid of the timer. It's up to Marte though, obviously. But I mean,
Yeah,
when he
I'll
says
definitely
things
answer
like,
this.
Okay, if
Yeah,
we want to go
whenever
back
we
to the
wanna-
timer, we can.
Yes, please.
Okay. I'll start it
back
back
to
at, we
or
were about
away
40
from?
minutes. So I'll just start it back at 40 minutes. And I'll let you finish your thought, Searkar, before I restart
Yeah.
it. So on your voice, I'll start it up, buddy.
yeah, again, like Black culture and things like criminality and all the things you mentioned, destroying it. How would you do that? Exactly. Like, what is, you need to understand it a little bit to do that too, I think, right? So I'm curious to see what you would do there. And then, second, are things like fatherlessness or abortion rates or crime rates like independent of socioeconomic drivers? Once again, I mean, these things exist not in Black communities in similar rates. So is it Black community, Black culture specifically, or is it something else at play here? And most of the data, as far as I'm aware, show a much stronger driver from things like socioeconomic policy that actually drive criminality. Now,
Well,
I think I can end it there. So
I was going to say, we'll do it at 2 at a time at most, right? Let's try to do one claim at a time so we can kind of all stay together, because I'm a potato, guys. Remember that.
Yes, please.
So go ahead and do your rebuttal, and then we'll do one at a time from here if we can.
So this is how I propose to do this. And let's say that I was a dummy and I didn't understand anything about Black culture. I would still have the same answer. And it goes like this. Black culture has been destroyed through propagandization throughout the nation, absent even, I would say, a financial disparity. Even in the 50s, people survived on low income and still had nuclear family and everything else going for them. What was the change in this? Propagandization and a need to work hard through a merit-based system. This was done through Black culture, creating this ecosystem of communal sense of togetherness that has since been broken apart through other communities, through conglomerates of the Jays coming in, all this other stuff. We can even talk about that. But here's the thing, though. This is how I propose to destroy Black culture, because it's been done time and time again. This is what I'm saying. Doing it the right way, pouring bleach on and taking an antibiotic destroys all the bad cells in the system and also some good ones. But what does it do? Prevent you from dying. If we take the Nigerian culture or some other subset culture that's still rooted in Black culture from outside that and use that propagandization throughout their culture and imbue our culture with this and eliminate the bad culture of baby mama drama, destroy media that perpetuates all this game banging culture, and then make a social shift and spend money towards that different form of propagandization, this can slowly start doing this. And I'm saying it's not going to be a fool's errand. It seems like that, but maybe like 15 years down the line, we'll slowly start integrating into a different culture if we have entertainment change, music, and other things like that. I can see my time.
There's a lot there again to unpack. One, you said Nigeria for like a second time here, and I don't know why you think that just simply transposing Nigerian Black culture is just going to be what you want it to be in the U.S. I'm not sure if you're familiar with the history of Nigeria and its participation in like the transatlantic slave trade, or how it would treat its own Black African Americans, not Americans, but Black Africans around Nigeria, right? Not exactly, I think, a culture that you would look at as soon as you transposed it and go, this is great. This works well in my song piece. And then second, I don't really think there's much to engage with on the rest of it again, man. I feel like I'm talking to a wall a little bit when it comes to the ideas of criminality and things that you keep mentioning. I think the history, again, will probably be a very important thing we need to go back to here. Because when you talk about the 1950s, I noticed a very common talking point there, a trope that kind of comes out of Charlie Kirk's toolbox, I think, where he talks about before the Civil Rights Act, black families were better off, right? They had nuclear families that stayed together. Simply just not true in the same way, and the way that Charlie Kirk presents it. And also the wealth expansion there that you're talking about, primarily a lot of it is a lot more descriptive and kind of interesting than what you're also making it out to be. A lot of blacks, contributed in World War II, came back and had GI Bills, even though they weren't technically given desegregation rights yet from the Civil Rights Act and all these things. But we still gave a little bit back to them after World War II because they fought for this country. Testament to the American values that I guess this country still has, I think. But it's not that simple. You also couldn't really divorce back then, Marte. So people who stayed together. There were also a lot more women who killed their husbands. So I guess cool statistic, but it's really not that eye-opening or explanatory when it comes to the systemic problems that kind of plague black culture and drive a lot of these pathologizing or criminality or, in my opinion, sometimes morally bad aspects of black culture you're describing. And that's the end of my time.
Marte, you good?
Now I want to catch something that Searkar said, and I want to point this out to the chat, the audience. He said, "Oh, Nigerian culture. You brought this up, and I don't think that this would primarily work because of the history of them and its transatlantic slave trade." Now, notice. I wasn't talking about their habits, behaviors, and patterns in their culture back then. We're talking about now. A lot of Nigerians come in 2026 as immigrants, and people from African countries come here and want to integrate. There's a group called the Lost Boys that comes here from war-torn Sudan, comes here, and actually they become business owners. A lot of them are extremely traditional from Christian countries as well, too. They're getting slaughtered, by the way, also, too, because of their Christian beliefs, and bring their Christian beliefs here, which we would thoroughly accept and integrate into the culture. The problem with that is there's two forms of Christianity. I don't want to get into that right now, but their normative culture, when they bring it here, they become an adaptive part of society and a contributing factor to society. That's what I'm talking about. When you bring up things like, oh, they were a part of this in the past, that's got nothing to do with how they would behave right now as an immigrant coming in and processing into our system. Now, back to this other point that I want to address right now. When we talk about Charlie Kirk's point of 1950s, yes, we could talk about the scarce minority in a part and parcel with what happened and wives killing husbands. Yes, we could talk about a small segment. By and large, overwhelmingly, nuclear families stayed together before this happened. That's something that you would have to concede, and I would actually admit too that that's a truth. There's a reason why Charlie Kirk had said the things that he said, because they could be fact-checked all the time, which you could fact-check this as well too. Just because that did happen, mind you, I don't even think that there was more. I think I would actually, even though there's no stats showing this, that the deaths from black women are probably closely related to the numbers from back then. If you would say this, there's just more people now than there were then too. But anyways, I could see my time. That's just crazy. He didn't answer anything.
Sorry, go ahead.
Black people who immigrate from Nigeria right now, they are the people who come from third world countries or countries that are not as wealthy are extremely entrepreneurial, very resourceful. It's not just something that happens in Nigeria specifically. Part of this is due to having to work within a country that doesn't have a lot of job creation, availability for you to just get a job like we have in the US, which is kind of, in my opinion, something that we take for granted. If you've ever gone to a less wealthy country, like even Mexico, and you go down like Tulum or something, there's a lot of people who have come up with very innovative ways to make money, have monkeys on their shoulders to take photos with when you're walking down a nice beachfront. So that is true, but this also actually exists within the historical black community in the US, Marte, because black people were not given the ability to go in and get jobs. And they've been essentially, and unfortunately, disconnected from a lot of the wealth that this country was making. In fact, they were an economic tool in the beginning. And it's one of the reasons that the racism in this country even exists is not because of just racism. It's an economic precondition that then necessitated the racism that came afterwards in order to continue doing it. Now, that's kind of something black people also had to do, Marte. They had to come up with ways to make money after the Civil War and Reconstruction. It was honestly kind of what you're describing that happens in Nigeria happened to the black culture and communities in the US. If not, probably even more dangerous. I don't know how you can't see that. It's not like a black person can go get a loan for a business here, man. Up until, your grandfather's age in this life still. That does a lot. So history, again, and culture doesn't just happen out of thin air in 2026 when you don't like something, you think it's immoral. It's something that happens over a long time. And I just don't think you understand it, man. And I'll just end my time now.
It's funny. It's almost like you're making my argument for me. The reason for this, I'll even bring this as a case in point. If you notice in modernity is also destroying us too in a cultural sense. The more and I'll even point this out, I'm speaking to the chat and everybody else, not just Searkar, but if you point out that the more of a third world country we start delving into, the more traditional roles we start fitting into. Isn't that funny that now in 2026, now that we can get switches on guns and Glocks in Chicago and all this, and we can have guns souped up, it's crazy now that crime has proliferated because just because you throw money at a problem or give somebody access to something doesn't actually change the culture. It actually magnifies the culture. Now, with this magnification, yes, you're right. People do become more entrepreneurial, but they become more traditional and they become more role orientated when it comes to duties as husband, wife, things like this. That is why we need to go back to that and destroy this materialism culture that the black community has adopted when it comes to religious sectors of pastors owning Rolls Royces and all this. Yes, that's a marginalized small subset of community, but everybody's copying this. They'd rather spend thousands on Jordan and then kill somebody because they scuffed a Jordan instead of putting money into getting into a trade school, things like this. That's also the answer that I'll give you for our school program. We're not pushing blacks into trade school programs and trying to push for degrees that are gender studies, things like this. It's just bullshit programming that we need to download from ourselves, which we can't do this. That's why I'm arguing for a complete destruction, because you don't think Nigerians have barbecues and Kenyans have barbecues and Sudanese people have barbecues. We all do. Now, that's not totally part of a cultural norm, but you've not once told me a lot of good that's happening if we do this destruction. I don't see how I'm losing this argument, because when I talk about the destruction, I've named abortion, murders, crime rates, all this other stuff. You don't offer a solution yet. I do. I offer a replacement value by saying not only can we replace this, but we can replace this with black culture that's not only original through programming and propagandization, but also cultural norms, even if we have to look externally to do this. I think that that's a great prescription. You'd not give me a good argument on why it shouldn't be destroyed. You just keep reporting like, oh, adhering to history, because history, I'm like, that's our problem, victimization. We keep holding on to slavery. There's not one white person that owned a slave now in America, a black person. So I'm like, we need to let this narrative go. That's the problem with the black community. We don't let this go. And this is the victim card that we keep taking. And mind you, this is another thing I'll even say too real quick. My black card was taken 7 years ago because I left the Democrat plantation. Yes, there's a lot of policing to make sure that we're still crabs in the bucket. All this shit needs to be destroyed, demolished, and replaced with our roots again. That's what I'm saying, and I'm going to concede my time.
Thank you. Go ahead, sir.
Okay. And I'm not really big on victimhood either, to be honest with you. I feel like accountability is tantamount, especially on the individual level. Now, do you think black culture in the United States, modern black culture, is more or less traditional than your average white family in a suburban area? So just yes or no. Do you mind if we take the timer off for a second?
Yeah, we're not on a timer.
Yeah, yes, it's less traditional. We have the term that came about, black fatigue. Why is that now a big thing?
You think it's less traditional?
Yes. I believe it's less traditional. We lead
black
in single
culture think that black men.
We lead in single motherhoods more than any other race. That's less traditional.
That's not by their own action or want, though, right? Single
Women
family homes in
initiate
black communities are usually caused by criminality.
No, the divorces are initiated by women, and that's because of satisfaction, not because of criminality. That's wrong. We can look this up and you'll get debunked in real time.
How many black families are actually going to be represented in a divorce statistic for this?
Oh, well, almost damn near none because the women kicked the father out and replaced it with Uncle Sam.
If it's none, then why are you using it?
That's because that exposes the whole issue with the black community. That's why I'm using that.
If it's none, why are you using it?
No. Did I say none? I didn't say an absolute claim of none. I said damn near about none or nearly none.
Which means we can't really use it to describe black culture and families.
We can, because if that's do you see that? Oh, hold on. Before you even move forward, do you think that's an issue?
I don't think it's going to give you the answer, or at least tell us what is happening here.
That's not an answer.
So,
do you think that's an
yes,
issue?
it is. A lot of poor communities, I've experienced this as well. I mean, the rise, and also for one, how do these studies actually what is their methodology when it comes to finding out if a black man is in the home?
You're disregarding the fact that I asked you a question. I asked you if absentee black fathers is an issue in the black homes, and you want to move on from that.
Yes.
Can you engage in the question?
It is an issue. I am engaging. It's an issue. How do we, when we do studies, okay, in the methodology, how do we determine if a household has an absentee father?
Ask the question one more time.
How does a study determine in its methodology if a household has an absentee father in it?
Well, if we look at the rates of divorce and women initiating this, there's also studies showing that black women lead in single motherhood in America.
It's by taxation. It's by filing status. Now, is that going to tell us someone could be single on their taxes, but actually have a new father, a stepdad in the home, who actually treats everyone better, but we don't know that.
Is that the only study that they use, Searkar?
No, there's different ways to do this. But
shit. This is we gotta throw that out. Okay. Is that not the case that they are increasing? That's not
one of the basics of how to do the methodology. Why are you acting like you can now tell me what the methodologies are most used?
Because that goes both ways. If you say I can't tell you, you can't even prove it on your end too. So back to this.
I know what it is, and I've done them, and I've studied them. So what I'm trying to tell you right now is it's hard to actually give a good rate at what absentee fatherism even looks like in the studies you present.
Okay,
because we can't tell if there's a
common sense here.
We can't tell if there's like a black guy in the home because we do it by fucking filing status.
Let's do common sense. Do you think that single?
Just did common sense.
Let's just make this simple. Let me just say that. Let's make this very simplistic for you. Do you think single black moms don't lead in single motherhood in America? Do you think that that's not the case?
I think they do by rate. They do.
Okay, then throw out your bullshit. Let's continue on this debate and get back to culture now. That whole shit just got refuted right now. Okay.
That whole idea there, okay, there's a lot of things that do that. It's not because they want absentee fathers, right?
That is the case, right? It is currently statement. That is the case.
Right? I really think that people get into a relationship, have children because they want to be fucking absent. You think that's the default?
No. Okay. Now what you're doing, this is very disingenuous. I'm talking about why they.
It's not disingenuous, man. I'm trying to show you that there's other reasons for why this might happen.
Do you know what's reason? Do you know why they state and they write down why they started the divorce and initiated this, right? Do you know why? Who cares about? Nobody gets into a marriage and says, I can't wait.
One question, but it tells you the complete fucking history and the entirety of someone's marriage.
That doesn't make sense.
You know what I mean? Like, you understand everything from one survey question.
I know you're smarter than this, Searkar. Nobody gets into a marriage and says, I can't wait to divorce this person. In the interim, in the outcomes, they state the reasons why they leave the divorce, do they not?
Sure, yeah. I bet they're completely honest and you get to know the entirety of their marriage from it.
Okay, a little bit of sarcasm. That's okay. I allow it. So, but back to this, you've already conceded that we do know why they initiate the divorce. If we do know why they initiate the divorce, and it's because of these reasons, and you've also conceded that they lead, that's black culture, and you've also said that this is a negative. I don't see how you're refuting any of what I'm saying.
Again, the divorce rates don't tell you if there's an absentee father, because if a woman files as a single tax filer and there's a stepfather there, this being a father figure, how do you account for that? How do you account for that?
They're using divorce. They're taking the data from divorces. They're not.
How do you account for a stepfather though, Marte? What if a new man comes in who's actually fucking better and parents your kid well because he's a good man?
Well, you're making an assumptive claim. How do you not know this? Well, I can say with certainty that if women are leading in single motherhood, you how
the data does not give you the full picture. It is a little bit assumptive on the fact that it's not really telling you everything. Assumptive
on your part, but if single women or black women are leading in the nation, what does that tell you? Let's use some
I
inductive
already
reasoning
agree.
here.
Black childhood, at least.
You're single, not what does single motherhood mean? Does it mean stepfather included, dad?
Market. Just listen, stop talking. Black childhood has the highest rate in the country of absentee father. Okay, that is a fact.
You just contradicted yourself. You said, "How do you know this? You can't prove this." And then you said, "Yes, it does. It does lead in single motherhood, and there's absentee fathers leading."
What I said is the picture you're presenting is incorrect. If you just go to New York Post and say 75% or something like that, which
liberal
is
media,
dumb.
You're going to point to liberal media, Searkar, for this debate? Go ahead.
New York Post is not liberal media, but that's fine.
New York Post.
New York Post is pretty far from that. It's probably like on the opposite spectrum, Newsmax style, but it's fine. I'm glad you have kept up with all the media sources. Now, my point though is that the picture you're trying to present isn't really accurate in its entirety, but it is nonetheless. Black absentee fatherhood is highest in Black communities, but I think the next question there should probably be why, right? Why?
I'm not looking at why. I'm looking at is. Now we can talk about what ought be. That's the part of the debate. That's the prompt, actually. What ought be? Should it be destroyed or should it not be destroyed? I'm on the claim that it should be destroyed. You've already conceded the debate and said, yes, this is bad. Yes, that shouldn't be there. Yes, that is the claim that single fatherhood is a problem in the Black community. And yes, abortion, whatever that is, and all these other things. You haven't said that that's bad yet. I'll even agree with you on this. But you haven't given me a strong argument on why it shouldn't be destroyed. I'm still waiting for this.
I'm not making the argument that it should be destroyed.
Yeah, you haven't made one. Right, against the prompt. Good.
I don't think it should be. I think Black culture is bigger and more comprehensive than just absentee fatherhood. That's your take.
Was that the only claim that I made? Was absentee fatherhood was the only thing?
In criminality.
No, not just that. There's more. There's a whole list that I gave you.
Okay, the three things that are pathology are like socioeconomic driving ones, criminality, absentee fatherhood, and what was the other one?
We murder more babies than any other culture.
You mean by abortion?
Yeah. We lead in those
as well. That right there is not really a good argument because a lot of people obviously right away just disagree with your legal use of the word murder there. I think personhood is pretty hard to give.
We have more abortion. We lead. We're leading. We're winning the race like Usain Bolt. I can name
communities that I've named often have more abortions, Marte. That's not a Black specific thing. Try again.
It is. Okay, they do talk about race when we talk about this. There are stats showing this, that we are leading in abortion.
Victimhood. The reason Black communities lead in abortion rates is because they're just disadvantaged and disproportionately
you concede that this is bad and we do lead. Why did you even counter that anyways if you're going to concede it anyways?
Because of poverty, though. It's not because of Black culture. That's what you're not understanding.
Great. Now we can get back to the systemic acceptance of public education instead of driving towards American.
You can't use that as an argument for Black culture to be destroyed, Marte. That's the problem. So we have criminality and then we have absentee fatherhood.
Culture being destroyed. You're not giving me a counter argument, Searkar, throughout this whole debate on why it shouldn't be annihilated and replaced with something more optimal, rooted in Black culture.
I can give you a bunch of things. There's culinary adaptation. There's music. There's language. There's rhetoric. There's in my opinion, when you said Black culture is less traditional than your average white suburban family, that's fucking hilarious to me. Black culture is predominantly way more traditional and it's intrapersonal values in the home. Black men, for instance, do not vote for Kamala because she's a fucking woman. And that's partly because they have very traditional mindsets in the home. They don't want to vote for a woman.
Kamala is least traditional. Are you crazy? This is crazy.
I said the Black people who voted, Black people in Philadelphia, for instance, in that area didn't vote for Kamala in the same way they did for Biden. And a lot of that probably had to do with the fact that Black men actually have a very traditional outlook in the home. They think men should lead the home.
Wait, you just brought up Biden. You mean the guy that says you're not Black if you don't vote for me? You see the bastardization of Black culture?
I don't even know how that's relevant. I don't even know how it's relevant.
It's relevant because we literally have slogans.
I'm talking about Black voters, not fucking Biden.
Biden was talking. You mentioned Biden, and Biden was appealing to
I
black
mentioned the
voters.
voting patterns, and how they didn't vote for Kamala.
Let me
she's
go
black,
ahead and build this bridge
because
for
she's a
you.
woman.
Biden was appealing to the black congregate of voters voting for him, saying that you aren't black if you don't vote for me. You see how that works? Yes, all
Is that
related to
supposed
what
to
you're
give you
talking.
more black voters? Is that actually supposed to give you more black voters? You think that's a winning strategy?
Yeah.
If you as a black voter,
According
you
to
can be like,
Biden,
oh,
maybe
fuck,
that
now
was
I'm gonna vote
that
for
was
Biden.
the rhetoric and logic by saying, you know what, you're not black if you don't vote for me. There's a lot of other shit that he said too that was wild and crazy. But he was
I'm
appealing
just pointing
to
out that
black
black
culture.
culture is more traditional than white suburban culture in a lot of ways, Marte.
And then here's the other problem too. Nope. Here's the thing though. Cultures are accepting of things. Like Newsom in California was saying, "Oh, you know, I don't know how to read, and I don't know any of this other stuff," implying that we're
That's
fucking
not what he
stupid.
said. I know exactly what you're talking about. He was trying to appeal to the fact that he didn't go through a very famous college. He didn't do well in school.
Oh,
You actually take the context.
okay, can you
Take the
demonstrate
context of that conversation instead of TikTok clips, Marte. You
Can you
realize that he
demonstrate that
wasn't
that was his
trying.
motive? That he
So
was
let me-
appealing to black culture.
If you watch the hour-long conversation, no one there thought he was being racist, but the
Then
TikTok
clean it
clip
up. Then
definitely did.
can you disprove that? Then clean this up for me. Figure this out for me. Make it simple, even.
Simple. Watch more than a fucking minute TikTok video. Go watch the actual hour-long fucking presentation.
Okay, so
like I
trust
did.
me,
Here you go.
bro, is not a rebuttal to what I just asked you, sir. So, all right,
Didn't
moving
you
back
just
from
bring up
this.
a fucking minute clip of supposedly him being racist? That's not what he said.
Let me step in for a second, guys. So I've been interested in the runaround that we've had so far. But the thing is we're talking about black culture, right? So black culture of what era? 1950s,
2026.
2020s.
2026.
I think where we're getting the talk past.
Yeah, 2026.
I agree. No, I agree, Potato. The problem here is that Marte doesn't want to include the historical framework of
right. The reason I ask is we're not dealing with the culture that was in 1950. We're dealing with a completely different culture.
Yes,
that's gone.
Yes, we are. Yes, we are.
So that's where we need to get to the bottom of what we're discussing here. Do we need to bring back the 1950 culture, or should we just ultimately destroy everything that they've ever had and go back to something completely and utterly different from anything ever? Okay.
No,
so we're about 15 minutes.
You're asking. I think it's a good question.
Sorry.
I think it's a good question. This might be a good way for me to show that the thing about culture, again, definitionally, is that it's not something that you can just, chop up like, a block of cheese and be like, here's my culture from then and here. Black culture is something that, like, think of an iron in like Lord of the Rings where you're smashing,
right. We've folded in so much.
Yeah.
What do we consider that black culture at this point in time? I think that's where we need to start back to, so we can get an actual debate going and not just running around. Because again, Marte's talking about strictly 2020s, and you're talking about basically strictly 1950s.
Yeah,
I'm not talking about basically 1950s only. I'm not appealing to that at all.
You keep bringing it up.
I brought it up one time, Mark,
No,
after you mentioned
you've sown
that
this in.
1950s black nuclear families
You brought up the
were
transatlantic
together.
slave in this industry that happened. What era did that happen in? Right, more than once, Searkar.
Not in the 1950s.
Well, good. You brought up other eras. We're talking about 2026. So you've also proven that you brought up other times in different cultures that were destroyed during that period. Here's the question I'll even ask you right now. You said that you can't chop it up into bits. Yes, we can, and I can demonstrate this. If we have
culture by definition is a continuum.
We can do this, and I'll even demonstrate how we can do this. Do you think, by one simple question, I'll fucking eradicate your whole premise? If we had KKK running around down south, do you think there'd be less blacks or more blacks running around?
There'd probably be less.
Right. In Iran, if we had a loss,
but now here's the trick, Marte. Do you get to erase that entire part of history? From black, you just get to say, "Oh, sorry, we can just fucking forget that."
Give him a second.
Yes or no?
He's having an issue. You back, Marte? Yeah. Yeah.
I can hear you. So the old Does it get erased, Marte? Do we just get to go, oh well, it doesn't happen as much anymore. We can just fucking forget about it.
So the culture can be segmented into different aspects. We can agree on this by you saying that yes, there'd be less.
The question
blacks.
was, does it get erased? Does it get erased?
I'm not talking about
No.
the erasure. So here's what you're doing is very tricky here. We're not going to do this right now. Let me
It's
go
not
ahead and
tricky.
make this
It's
more
just
concise for you.
factually what culture is.
Let me make this more concise for you. I'm specifically talking about pieces because you said you can't piece this apart. That's what I'm talking about. You're talking about a whole, the totality. I'm not talking about that because you just made a claim that you can't piece this apart. Let's address this.
I know
Yes,
you're
you
not
can.
doing that, Marte, because if you tried to, you'd
You
realize
can
that
do
your
that.
position sucked.
If you had Iran, if you had a law that nobody can be PDFs and sleep with girls and to remove the race of or the age limit of people that you can lay down with at 8 years old, I think it's like 9 or something like that, and you're saying they could have capital punishment for those people, there would be a reduction of PDFs there in that state. And then not to mention this gets eliminated from their culture.
Are you
You're not
describing an entire culture right now? Is that what's happening with that?
No, I'm addressing your claim of saying you can't eradicate parts
Okay,
of
I
the culture.
thought it was relevant.
No,
relevant.
this is something that you said you can't segment this into parts. Yes, you can.
You can segment it
parts
to
of the
analyze
culture.
it in a way, Marte, if that's what you're trying to say.
You can eradicate
You
parts
don't
of the
just
culture.
get to
Yes, you can.
separate entire pieces of someone's or entire
can.
identity's culture
You
and then
can.
act like you can talk about the fixes or the causal relationships or the explanations
You
or
can.
the intricacies or the idiosyncrasies because that's lazy.
We do this through laws. We do this through enforcement. We do this through force doctrine. We do this all the time throughout daily life. Do you think that stop signs were on every quarter or whatever? We have people walking freely in the Wild West. Now that we have this, we have controlled movement throughout the United States. Do you think that this was also culture? Guess what we were robbed of? Freedom of
While I
movement.
feel like the stop sign thing is weird, Marte,
The
I do want to
culture-
point out
the
that the
culture
stop
was
sign
limited.
history is
We have
there
limit-
because of the fact that
Hold
people
on.
died.
Searkar, we now have a culture of limited movement because of that. So guess what was eradicated? That segment from our culture.
Whoa.
That was
Did you say
eradicated.
limited
You
movement?
can do this.
You said
Searkar. It
limited
happens all the
movement.
time.
Say limited movement. Is that what you just said? Limited movement?
Yeah, in comparison to what we used to have. Yes.
Do you think black people had more freedom in their movement for labor or doing whatever they wanted
Was
in
that
the
what
history of the US?
you're bad at hypotheticals. Let me address
No,
this.
I'm not. It's not
saying-
hypothetical. I'm not even assuming. I did maybe assume in my question there, but I want
Yeah,
you to
you
tell
did
me what you
assume.
said.
That's a bad assumption. That's really bad faith.
What are you trying to say then? That they're more mobile or less mobile?
What I'm saying, my whole point is you can eradicate segments from culture off of the map completely. That's all I'm saying.
No, I want you to go
All
back
this
to the
society, we do this-
mobilization thing, the movement.
This
the
has
freedom
been
of
done
movement.
through different cultures in the past. We've done this. This is demonstrated daily, and I gave you a real world example of how this happens in culture.
No, what did you mean by we have more limited movement now? What does that mean?
So back in the old West, could you drive everywhere? Could you walk everywhere? Yes. But now that we have stop signs, walk lanes, you can't even like jaywalk anymore in some certain aspects. That didn't exist. Now it's more often. Now we have like more limited movement. We have more doors than we used to have. I think modernity has introduced a lot.
You didn't need stop signs for fucking horse carriages, right? Because it's kind of easy to see it coming. But
Well,
sure.
we had less people too as well too. But here's the thing though, there's more of a less mobility, well, as far as movement, right? Less allowance of movement now because we have more stop signs, more laws. You have speed signs and all this other stuff everywhere. Now you can't even go a certain speed. We had think about it.
What does that have to do with black
never
culture? I thought you were making a black culture point.
No, I'm making an analysis of what you just said because I'm addressing the comment of saying that you can't eliminate a segment of a culture.
How the fuck are stop signs individually immobilizing someone for half a second to save someone's life because people died beforehand? And we were like, oh fuck, we need to do that because cars are fast now.
Do
How the
you understand
fuck
what
does that
I
have
just
anything to
said?
do with what we're talking about?
Searkar, do you understand?
No, I
what
don't.
just
I
said?
want you to tell me.
So
what the hell is going on?
So no, you could walk. Think about it. If stop signs, lights, and speed limits didn't exist, and we had let's say we're back in the 1950s, there's more movement.
more deaths.
There would be more movement, right?
We'd have more deaths. We'd have less movement because more people would be dead.
That's regardless of the fact. We had more movement, right? We'd have more movement, right?
No, Marte, I don't really want to get into a conversation about what positive and negative freedom is.
Oh, hold
clearly you
on,
have no
because
idea what this is
you're
about.
not because this is going over your head. It's crazy.
So real quick, let me
No,
step
because
in
unlimited
because
freedom can inhibit
this isn't
freedom,
really
okay?
the prompt. We're kind of off the prompt yet again. Marte is correct. if with more laws restrict the ability to move, that is changing of culture of some sort. Now, going back to the prompt, the thing is like we were talking about, 1950 black culture was leaps and bounds better than it is today in 2020s.
Yes.
The question now should be, the question now should be, how much should we hold on to and how much should we dispose of? Because yes, they were more apt to stay in the homes in 1950. They are not anymore. Regardless of whether they have a step person in the home or not, the statistics say that they get divorced. Okay, so regardless
Divorce
of what we can't see, what we
then.
can see is they are leading the divorces.
Divorce was illegal back then, for one. So everyone had, less divorce rates.
It wasn't illegal.
Yes, it was.
It might have been harder to do.
Yeah, it wasn't illegal. It may have been harder, but it wasn't illegal. Searkar, look that up again.
Marte, it was functionally impossible. Okay, because you have to prove.
Searkar, you just something. Is impossible illegal? Is impossible and illegal the same thing?
But that's what Marte is saying.
If you tried to divorce your husband without like having the no fault or like the actual proving aspect of it, it would be illegal.
But if you had the proof, you could do it. That is the legalities that we're talking about.
It's really hard to prove as a woman in the 1950s that
doesn't.
I'm
I'm sorry, but that doesn't matter. The statistics show us that they're leading it. So at this point in time, we have about 10 minutes till the end of the debate.
Sure.
What are we going to be debating? Because we're debating a big, broad topic at this point in time. Because you focused on 1950 and Marte focused on 2020.
I did not focus on 1950. I did not.
Okay, that's fair. That's fair. But you're not focusing on 2020, where Marte is.
In order to talk about 2026, right? In order to talk about 2026 in Black culture, you need to actually understand the history
and how much of it stayed around and how much of it didn't.
So, Potato.
That's the thing.
I like to.
Well, here's the thing, Marte. One second. Marte's arguments rely on criminality heavily. We've noticed this. Criminality is a massive part of it. Criminality is something that is essentially.
Oh, you're just going to keep talking.
Part of Black culture from 1901 to like 1956. I want to say that peonage and the criminalization of Black communities actually gives us an explanation for why criminality is still extremely high and present in Black communities today. This is a systemic problem.
Here's the problem.
Systemic racism is kind of a little bit convenient because it abdicates the individual. We don't just point at people and go, "You're fucking racist. Police are racist." That's fucking stupid.
We're not talking.
The point is that these people were in place before the Civil Rights Act came into play. We didn't upend institutions to do that.
Right, but let Marte speak his piece real quick.
So Potato, I'm going to not just I'm not appealing to the moderator, but I'm just saying this for an example. Let's say that we eradicated Black culture in 2026, the Black culture of the 1950s. Sounds really stupid, right? And we eradicated the Black culture. We had a debate about eradicating Black culture of the transatlantic slave movement and did all this. Sounds really stupid for a debate. The most sensible debate we can have is eradicating Black culture in 2026 because that is actually possible. Appealing to the past that we cannot change. We can look at historical narratives. The only way that you can do this.
I never said.
Hold on. I didn't try to interrupt you. The only way that we can eradicate history is revising history. That's the only thing. And I'm not making that claim yet. That's why I think it's irrelevant when Searkar brings up the transatlantic slave industry in the 1950s. I'm talking about currently right now because we can actually destroy Black culture in 2026. We can't destroy Black culture in the 1950s or the transatlantic slave industry. That sounds redundant.
The ironic thing here is that's literally what you're doing, Marte. You are fucking ignoring history.
By destroying current hip-hop culture and baby daddies being absent from homes, I'm destroying history. How is that happening?
You can't just point to slight criminality or like some music videos and then go, "Oh yeah,
I didn't mention criminality
and the community making and the food crafts and the language
baby daddies
and all of Black culture and the fact that there is a like an economic self-help under constraint because of the fact that they went through these things, or like, the fact that like rhythmic and blues music and all those things came from Black culture, right? I mean, that's why I asked you in the beginning, I want you to define what you think we need to get rid of, but for some reason you keep sticking to black
I'm using a
culture
general-
as its entirety.
I'm using
And I
a
think it's
general
lazy.
synopsis of entire black culture when I'm saying this, because if you appeal to like,
Like
you brought up
videos
music.
and crime.
Okay, you ask questions, but then I can't answer this, but I'm answering it right now. So you brought up music and things like this. Where's the jazz culture and speakeasies that we have now? Oh, they're obliterated right now. Everything that's good in black culture
Every
right now.
time I
Really,
pick up that guitar
Hold
behind
on,
me, I am
Searkar,
fucking
you'll never get an
utilizing
answer
nothing
unless
but
you
a
let me
black
finish.
person.
You'll
But you're
never.
just misunderstanding the music.
I'm
now.
answering your question because I have to address this. Otherwise, you're gonna try to do a run-on sentence, and I'm not gonna let you do this. I'm gonna hold your feet to the
I
fire.
hope
We're
you don't
gonna
run out of
trust this.
commas.
When
I
we're
hope you don't
talking
run out of
about
commas.
when we're talking about the good things in black culture from 1950s that we want to keep intact, current black culture that's being eroded and eradicated right now. So if we wipe it off the map and destroy this whole thing and replace it with black culture, even from external black culture from Kenya, Sudanese, or something like that, because that's still rooted in African history and black culture, how would this be bad? You've yet to answer this question the whole debate.
I didn't say that. I said it wouldn't transpose when you brought up the Nigerian, by the way. I said it wouldn't transpose as neatly as you are just presenting here.
I'll agree.
Because-
It's not going to be as neatly. I said 15 years, maybe.
That's all I said, though. That's all I said.
Prominent.
That's all
It'll
I
take
said.
time. It'll take time. Yes, I'll agree with you. But we need
Now,
to get the ball rolling on
What
this.
about the things like family formation in black culture? Because historically, men were actually stripped away. Okay, in the U.S. Again, it's not like I want
That
you to
makes
feel
my
bad.
argument,
by the way.
Searkar. That makes my argument. But go ahead.
No, it doesn't. No, it doesn't at all. No, it doesn't.
The fact
It's
the
built
black family being stripped away, yeah, that's bad. I want to get rid of that.
No.
That's my argument.
But that the type of culture black people have in this country is one of a very family orientated, extended family orientated, kind of like a European one where they take care of their grandparents and they take care of their own.
Where
much
is
more
that
than white
happening,
culture.
Searkar, with single moms leading? Where is that happening?
You keep bringing up criminality, which is the driving
That's
factor
not
of fathers being
criminality.
taken away.
That's legal.
And you're not understanding that when black fathers are in the fucking
Searkar.
home, Marte, they actually care very much
Them
about their
divorcing
fucking
husbands is a
home.
legal process. How's that criminality involving criminal
When you
actions,
look at
behavior?
black families that are happily married and stable and aren't, if they can get out of
Minority?
these communities that are fucking deprived of anything because they have extreme criminality and gangs and things that push them to wrong decisions, you realize that they actually have a very traditionally fucking family focused initiative. It's a very interesting and good part of black culture. When
What?
black fathers can stay in the fucking home, Marte, they take care of their own.
Okay, can
Are you not aware of
a black father stay in the home if women overwhelmingly lead in divorce?
Not if they're in fucking prison for some stupid fucking drug charge, Marte.
Did I mention anything about illegal conduct? All I'm mentioning is
That's
legal.
what
activities.
drives a lot of absentee
No.
fatherhood. It's criminality. You just
No.
refuse to address that because you know it's not advantageous
Okay.
to you because you want to
Hold on,
make it
this is
about
refuted.
black
I'll even
culture.
bring up. Do you want me to bring up evidence?
Socioeconomic conditions drive these.
Searkar, you want me to bring up evidence that destroys your whole fucking narrative? Women
I
actually
would love
initiate
for you to
divorce.
do that, bro.
Women
Please,
women
give me some
initiate divorce not because of
Well, that's
criminality or anything. They initiate divorce because of happiness rates, because they don't feel connected
And
to
we
their partner.
already said that actual black families who get married are lower as a percentage. So it means fucking nothing because if you have 5 people,
Oh,
the
so
fuck
they're
cares?
not getting married. We want them to get married, and the current culture promotes non-marriage, and they're running away from marriage, which we need to change. Thus, making that whole
or
argument again.
the family and the father are criminalized, and really there's no way for them to get married unless they want to do it in prison.
Searkar, why do you keep bringing up criminalization when I don't?
Because that's important to understand why black
If it's
communities
not
have
listed in the
absentee
stats
fathers.
why they divorce,
If
how come you
look
bring
at
it up?
communities that are poor and white, by the way, Marte, you'd realize that gangs
Then-
exist there,
then
drug
how
running
come-
exists there,
Then how
white
come they don't use
fatherlessness
this to
is
initiate
also
divorces?
existent there. But you don't want to do that because you want to look at this shiny thing and you want to ignore this
Oh,
one.
you want to ignore facts and stats, how it's not listed. Criminality isn't listed. Why
I
mothers
mean, like
leave
what
their
you're doing
fathers.
right now, I just told you why similarly, likewise, communities and families have fatherlessness that are at high rates.
We're not
like
talking about
these
other communities. We're talking about black culture. Let's get
Why
back to
not?
the
Why
point
would you
here.
not want to compare these communities together, bro?
Because we're talking about black culture. They're doing this. They're irrelevant from
Except
white
how do you
culture.
know it's black culture if you don't look at other things that could drive these?
Because even in comparison, they lead no matter what. And when talked about their reason, when
Actually,
asked
no.
why they're
In
leading,
comparison, we
Hold on,
noticed
hold
that
on, I'm not done.
socioeconomic drivers
the
actually
reason
produce criminality.
the driver and why they leave isn't because of criminality. It's because of satisfaction rates. You're wrong on this. That also
You think
refutes
satisfaction
the whole
rate
argument.
leads to absentee fatherliness and criminality more than just more than those things?
Good. Okay, Searkar, let's back your claim up. Can you prove to me that criminality is the causing force of leading divorce rates in Black communities?
I didn't make that claim. I made the claim that criminality is a socioeconomically driven thing most times.
You didn't make the claim, but when I tell you that that's not what's leading Black families,
absentee fathers, people when fathers are not in the home because of instability or criminality, which are common things that drive absentee fatherhood, those things are driven by socioeconomic
Good. Okay, can you prove to me that the criminality is what's leading the divorces in Black families then? I'd like to see this.
I never fucking made that claim. I don't know why you keep.
You are making the claim by proxy when you say things like the reason why they're leaving is because
I'm literally not doing anything
criminality
like
and things like this.
It's not even indirect. It's not even fucking closely related to what you're trying to make me say.
Then why bring it up then, Searkar?
You don't even have to be married to be technically absentee fatherhood, by the way. If you have a couple that's been together 10 years, Marte, and they're not married, are you going to say that father is not in the home?
You realize that when you make a point that you don't even have to be married, thus showing a reduction of marriages in Black homes, that's also bad for Black culture, which also makes my argument as well, too.
It is bad for Black culture to have unstable homes where criminality is fucking plagued by a socioeconomic driving factor that has a long, brutal history associated with it, which
that's not the reason
conveniently want to fucking ignore.
It's not the reason for
fucking reason.
It's not the reason why Black fathers are being kicked out of Black homes. It's not the reason why.
Stop that. No, it is. It's probably why they have the highest incarceration rate.
Now you're saying that is why. Can you back that up? I'll let you go to Google or any other source.
Home from prison.
Back that up.
From prison.
Okay, Searkar, you just made a claim. I need you to back that up. I'll even let you to go to Google. You can use Grok.
When young men, Marte, when young men are coerced into gang activities, do you think they're allowed to just like be a father?
You make a lot of claims that you can't back up. You're making claim after claim. Can you address?
I can't back up the claim that gangs within poor communities are not coercive?
Okay, so Hell's Angels is in the white gang. There are gangs in other communities. Let's bring it back to the Black culture right now. You're obfuscating and running right now.
Gangs plague Black culture.
Can you prove that, Searkar?
Gangs plague Black culture and communities. Right
can you demonstrate that or prove that to me? Why are they initiating divorces?
That they do. I'm telling you that they do.
Okay, trust me, bro, is not a source, Searkar. Trust me, bro, is not a source. Can you demonstrate and prove that to me?
Instead of running, he's talking. I want you to just listen for a second.
I'm holding your feet to the fire right now, and you're not addressing this. I need you to engage in the debate, Searkar.
That gangs exist heavily in Black communities in the United States.
Okay, cool. What does that have to do with the marriage rates and fathers abandoning homes, the gang thing? Why even bring that up? How's that in relation to what I'm talking about, Searkar? I need you to piece this together for me.
I'm sorry. Are you allowed to simultaneously exist and be initiated into a gang and then be like a fucking double agent and go home and be a good father?
You're bringing this up. I need you to demonstrate this for me, Searkar.
I want you to fucking engage with what I just said. You think gangs are going to be like, oh yeah, go home, have dinner, bro. Drop off the drugs and do some killings and go home and have dinner. By the way, you're 13. You're going to have to do this whether we like it or not.
Yeah, cool story. Asking you to engage is asking you to engage with me. Asking you to demonstrate this is asking you to engage, Searkar. How is that not possible? I need you to engage with this. Can you show me the correlation between gang activity and divorce?
Every Black person in the U.S. it has to be fucking Clark Kent from Superman. Fucking take off the glasses, go have dinner with the family, and then go do gang stuff later.
Okay, more obfuscation. Can you at least engage with the prompt and what I'm asking you? How does gang activity how does gang activity correlate to absentee fathers from the home overwhelmingly?
You asked me how does gang activity correlate?
Yeah,
I can prove
that being the leading cause.
I didn't. I didn't.
Oh, probably. Now it's probably. Searkar.
No, I said I could probably give you a causal relationship if you know what that word is. If you know what inferences is or statistics.
Yes.
I don't think you do.
Yes, you can suggest things all day if you want. Yes, you can make inferences.
What does causal versus correlation mean? What does causal versus correlation mean?
We've got about 2 minutes
Correlation
left,
is related. Causation could be like the catalyst, right? So back to this. Here's the thing,
though. Not even fucking close.
Yes.
Causal
Back
means
to this.
you can find a connective inference link.
Hold on.
Correlation means you have data plots that might give you an insight.
More obfuscation. Can you at least engage with the prompt? Can you at least engage with the prompt?
If you want to talk statistics, bro, you have to actually at least understand.
I need you to engage with what I'm asking you, Searkar. Can you at least engage? What does the correlation with gang activity have to do with leading divorce rates of black absentee fathers from the home? Can you piece this together somehow for me?
The divorce rate one I can't engage with. But what you
first
you
said can't engage
was
with
absentee
this.
fatherhood.
God,
what you first said was absentee fatherhood. I can't do divorce rates with that. That doesn't make any sense. But when you said absentee fatherhood,
you can't engage with that. Why make a claim?
I could probably make a causal inference that gangs inhibit, fatherhood in the home.
Okay, then can you demonstrate this? Can you demonstrate this for me, or at least show proof? Or where's your facts at? Where's your source at on this?
I mean, you probably give me 4 minutes. I'd probably give you a pretty good case, man. Yeah. Again, I feel like that's
insane, Searkar.
30 seconds.
I don't think so. I feel like gangs
crazy,
verifiably and easily connectively show that fathers cannot stay in a home when they're in a gang.
Yeah, can you show me that this is the leading cause? Your inference is that this is the cause, and it's causal.
Leading cause is now an injected new word. If you want to keep adding new words like it's fucking Scrabble,
can you demonstrate this for me, Searkar?
I can demonstrate the first one probably, not the inclusion of the new word.
Good Lord. So you can't do it. Searkar, throughout this whole debate, I've asked you to engage with the prompt.
I guess.
Tell me how long about destroying black culture. You haven't once done that or demonstrated that in this whole debate, Searkar, on why black culture can be destroyed.
You kind of just keep not listening, and I can see your head going, when can I talk again? And I don't know why you do this. When the reality is I actually told you
that you haven't. Go ahead.
Which are criminal violence and a morally bad thing, by the way, which deserve accountability, plague black communities and black culture. How do we fix these things? We don't destroy black culture to do that, though, Marte. What we want to do is give a systemic answer to this because there's a systemic reason for it.
Okay, let me address this.
Gangs do not get blown out of a vacuum.
Let me address this one point.
Can we do not leave homes because they fucking want to?
Can we go point by point, sir? Let me address that point. Let me address
that is time. So, Marte, I'll give you the time to address it, and that's time. We'll go to the closers.
Okay, he said, how do we destroy this? He's already demonstrated in the past and admitted that we've destroyed this in the past. The way that we can do this is eradicating this through, I would say, propagandization through media, changing our narratives and funneling money through different sources of media, pushing funding campaigns towards pushing black community towards trade schools, things like this. And then also having better propagandization through media, through black communities together, like the Huxtables were together, things like this. We've eliminated this through media. All that takes funding. If we could do this, this is a slow churning of events that changes culture and destroys that. That's how we can do this. When you say this impossible, we've done this. You've actually demonstrated this by telling me black culture has been destroyed numerous times in the past. Why not do it for good this time and have an agenda? There's never a specific agenda to uplift the black community. That's what I'm offering as a solution, yet you've never done that in this debate. I can see the time.
All right. And then, Circa, I'll give you a second since I gave him a second there. Just go ahead and rebut that real quick, and then we'll go to closers.
Sure. You gave a systemic answer. We should fund trade schools, fund black communities in ways that could probably be beneficial. Kind of weird considering that's a systemic answer to a systemic problem. I mean, why would you want to fund media campaigns when you can just maybe like help fund schools a little better, attract good teachers? I don't know. Kind of weird. Maybe different music videos might help.
So, yeah, that kind of ends the debate. Not real sure exactly where we would go with it on that one, even if we were to give more time, to be completely honest, because again, it sounds like we're still debating two separate time frames, essentially.
Yeah.
And so I would kind of like to get a different debate set up at some point in time, maybe to maybe direct this toward what we should hold on to from older culture and utilize it for the newer culture or something like that, because what we have today is an interesting culture, if you want to call it that, of today. Where of 1950, there was a definite better way of culture back in the day, but we don't have that today. So it's been essentially destroyed.
Yeah.
So what should we do from going forward? I think it would be a better prompt.
Potato. I don't want to argue with you, Potato, but
no,
in the 1950s, did we actually care about, properly doing studies or, having any insight into black communities that much? How much money do you think was spent?
We had more of a communal sense back then than we do now, and that's the thing that needs to be changed. Because the more,
how would you even know whether or not they were actually doing better though? Because no one spent money on them.
I'm actually answering your question. If you notice my whole example of the less tech we have, the less prominence in access do we have, the freedoms that we have through phones, iPhones, and access to media and all this, and pornography and all this, the more traditional you become. If you pay attention to what I said earlier, the more traditional families that come over live less with technology and with less. I think we need to go back to that. And that's the answer to the whole question to the debate is that in order to destroy the culture, we need to integrate. We need to integrate something new, because if we destroy black culture as it was now, we need to replace that void. What do we replace it with? Right. External black culture that's rooted from Africa or something else like that. Even European culture would be more optimal.
And that actually, Marte, that actually kind of, again, back to the prompt, black culture, that could include all of those other cultures that you're referring to. So
I'm sorry. I hate this answer. You want to know why? I hate this answer, man. I'm sorry. I'm gonna answer what he just said. I fucking hate this answer because there's a long history of black people suffering in the U.S. And again, I don't want anyone to feel bad for it. It's not like you can go and change the past. But why the fuck would you destroy that?
So
what the fuck are we doing?
Destroying the current history in 2026? Why would you not destroy the current culture?
That's not what you said. Culture, again, is definitionally something that means history.
Current culture in African civilizations that we have now.
Word means doesn't mean.
So let me.
You can
current culture with current culture.
Simply saying we should just forget about what black people actually had to go through is fucking just weird to me.
Well, and that's why I say that the debate prompt was too.
We need to let that go. That's crazy.
This prompt was too wide. It was too broad.
Do not just forget it. Like what you're
we need to restrict this down a little bit because, again, black culture could include all of those other cultures.
In 2026, that's what I'm talking about.
I understand what you're saying, Marte, but it could very well include the cultures that you're referring to bring in as a replacement for the black culture. So when Searkar is doing his research, it's really hard to say all of black culture or just the African black culture or the Nigerian black culture or whatever we're talking about at the time. And then on top of that, was it today's culture or was it
today's culture?
All of culture? And that's
what
today.
I'm saying. So if we take the current culture, if we take the current culture in our foreigners that come here from the dark continent and then replace it with that current culture, because I'm staying at 2026, we now have to
conveniently the people who didn't have to suffer through the U.S.'s history of
are you gonna just talk over me? That's crazy, bro. What I'm talking about,
because you're like, let's substitute
you have to let
a very real
car. Because you're like, it's just
fucking disrespectful, bro. Like, what the fuck are we doing?
No, this is you being disrespectful. You're interrupting me. I'm answering
an entire 250-year history of black culture.
Again, that's the thing. Is
I'm not saying forget about
what we have today is not what we had 20 years ago. It wasn't what we had 100 years ago.
Not true. What we
know of as black culture has been destroyed. You have admitted it yourself, Searkar.
Right.
So
it's been remade, destroyed, and remade again. Yeah.
Right.
When I say destroyed, though, I don't think it goes away.
What we're dealing with today is the conglomerate, is like you said, the Damascus, the folded together. And
I don't think it's
what have they conserved? What have they conserved of their own culture today?
Right.
That's the question that we should be
asking. That's why I brought up jazz. That's why I brought up cultural norms of
you got to remember that black culture,
jazz culture, that's all been destroyed. All the goodness that we've had that we want to retain, we've never retained it. Current black culture is being destroyed. So what's the harm in destroying all of it and replacing it with something that's more optimal? What would the black community lose in doing so, Searkar? That's my question.
So when blacks came over in the early U.S. history,
question, but go ahead.
I'm not, because it's fucking stupid, Marte. When blacks came over in early U.S. history, we destroyed everything about what their origins were. At least tried to. We creolized them, right? So if you think about it, black culture in the U.S. is a subset of just American white culture,
which became what?
It's a subculture that's existed. But its ancestry is what, Mark?
You admit now it is a part of black culture, and we've accepted that, right?
No, it's part of white culture.
So if you look at, hold on, what are all these memes?
When whites took blacks from Africa, Marte, they deleted their entire existence, and then they put into them what?
So hold on, Searkar. I can make a delineation on the cultural labels that we have. I can make
How did they get Christianity? How did they get all these things that white U.S. culture has?
Where does the word coon come from? Does it come from white culture or any other? I can make distinctions.
Just the ancestry of U.S. African American black culture is fundamentally tied intrinsically to white culture.
You're totally weaving around this. That's crazy. The disengagement is wild here.
I don't know how. Hey, are they African, bro? Are they
Because
Nigerian?
you said that they've
You think they got to
adopted a
keep their fucking
subculture,
names
and
when
then
they
when I
came over?
talk about what's in the
Do you think they
subculture,
could keep
you
their
want to be
rituals?
talking
Do you
about
think they
that.
got to keep their gods? Do you think they got to keep their dances?
I
What do they
conceded
get
all
to keep?
that. I conceded all that, Searkar, early in
So
the
black
advance.
culture
Yes.
in the U.S. is fundamentally U.S. American white culture in its ancestry.
So the word coon, is that a part of white culture?
Okay, as culture progresses, we have
No, it's
subculture.
not. I can name other examples as well.
You're not
too.
even arguing with this, bro. You're not even arguing with this because you know you're fucked.
There.
Well,
How?
to be
That's
fair,
part
The
of
word,
culture.
to be fair,
lit and
he's
lit,
proposed
bro, are
questions
also
that you haven't
cultural
addressed
words in
either.
Suburban white community.
But
What the fuck
we're
does that have to
past-
do with this conversation?
we're past our time, right, guys? So
Insane, bro.
I've actually let it go on for quite a bit
Crazy.
longer than maybe even Tyler wants it to. So Tyler, being the host of the channel, I don't necessarily want to take up his time or the people in the audience.
Tyler, I have a
But-
question real quick. Potato, I have a question.
Yeah, go
Can I
ahead.
ask? Is there going to be a poll? Please let there be a poll.
Yes.
Right. And,
Okay,
and
cool.
I was going to say, Tyler will probably do a poll, but we do want some questions
I mean,
from
actually, because I do,
the
right?
chat
Right.
if we can get them. And if there has been any super chats, we want to get to those. So with that being said, I want to give the time for Tyler just a minute to give us the information of how much time we have left here.
I mean, my evening's free, so it's
Okay.
it's up to you guys.
Just want to make sure of that because again, it's your channel, not mine. And then with that, we do want to do our closers, and then we can maybe go into a 30-minute back and forth or something like that. But
I got to go pee. I'll be right back. Give me a second.
go ahead. Tyler, you've got the floor for a minute while he's going there. Then
Sure, I'll just go through some of the super chats here. Cool Vic sent a $5 super chat earlier on. Says W Tyler, W Potato, W Marte, L. Sorry, I'm reading the super chat. L. Sorry.
Oh, it's my favorite friend, the guy who doesn't know what past tense is of the word wood. Oh, very funny.
6G23 says, "Hey chat, hope to watch later. Appreciate that."
heck yeah, right on.
TVT. He said, "I said I'd do it, Tyler. So here you go." Fuck it, OS20, OS20, LOL. That was from a Discord challenge
Bet.
there. And then Fuck It Button says, "Selective pathology is an interesting way to describe your own obfuscation. How come no one listens to keyboards? We don't need to keep trying to cut out cancerous growth. We need to embrace the cancer and let it take over."
I
That's
think
a
this
wild
chatter
statement.
probably should look up the definition of what cultural pathology even means and then work from there. Grab a dictionary, find your way forward.
I think it was a satirical more than anything.
Fair enough. And that's all I got as far as super chats. Appreciate all of you guys for supporting the show and supporting the channel.
That's fair.
I did a little bit of background real quick.
Sure.
Looking into how the number of black fathers in the home is. I asked the question: how is it determined the amount of black fathers are in the home within the U.S.? Right, and this is just the Google AI answer. It says the number of black fathers in the home is determined primarily through U.S. Census Bureau surveys, such as the Current Population Survey, the CPS, and the American Community Survey, the ACS.
What are the responses for those in black communities?
Well, let me just finish here just to give you what it says here. Which track children's living arrangements by race. These surveys, alongside the CDC's National Survey of Family Growth, the NSFG, identify children residing with two parents, married or cohabitating, and distinguish those living with single mothers. Some of the key data points that it gave is that. Oh, go ahead.
So the thing about this, so I studied econometrics, right? Which has a lot to do with statistical analysis and economic modeling. Right? I didn't get my degree, just to be clear, but when it comes to methodology as well as surveys, it's very difficult to get communities, and definitely black communities, ones without a father, by the way, or without technology in the way that Marte even correctly said there. It's very difficult for them to respond to these properly, appropriately, timely, or even with any care, especially when they feel like systems don't even help them. And a lot of times it's hard to get resources to even go to them. So things like the second one you mentioned, they're good because they give us an idea. And like I pointed out to Marte, black fatherlessness is its highest as a rate when it pertains to black children. But my point earlier was to point out that the numbers often get inflated online, especially if you take 2 seconds to like just Google it, where you'll see numbers like 75 but a lot of these are socioeconomically driven, and they're far more complex, and they require some esoteric understanding of how statistics work.
So I'd
Okay,
like
yeah,
to,
I do understand your first point there, that some folks just choose to opt out of the surveys or whatever. But I thought that the reason I asked that question was because I thought that was a relevant point that you made. I had never heard it before, that I never considered it before, taking into consideration the amount of stepfathers that are in the home, because everybody initially talks about the father not being there, but at the same time. And so I never thought about, like, okay, is there even a count or a way to count if the stepfather or just another outside father figure is actually in the home? So that made me think.
Plus, if it's unstable, right? Because a lot of these communities, if you've been in a poor community, not black, but just in general, instability really fucks up the ability for us to figure out correct numbers.
so I'd like
Right.
to, I'd like to butt in here for a second. The reason why I'd like to butt in for a second real quick and interject is because when I look this up on Google right now, it says black women have the highest rate of single motherhood in the U.S., approximately 47% to 69%, often driven by lower marriage rates and higher marital instability, the instability that Searkar's talking about. Women have initiated these divorces due to lack of fulfillment is the number one reason and requisite reason why they initiate divorce. That's going to cause the instability that we talk about as well.
Right.
No, instability causes divorce, Marte.
Well,
I
I
think
think
fulfillment
there's
is the
another-
number one reason. Lack of fulfillment.
Instability will cause divorce. It's not divorce that causes instability.
No, financial independence is number 3. So take the finances out of it. Leading is lack
That
of
is
fulfillment.
a part of instability.
Why would they
which
list
then factors
finances
in-
twice? Searkar, why would they
Do you
list
think
finances twice?
Do you think divorce comes before instability?
Searkar, let me ask you a question because you don't want to answer this question. Do you think that they would list financial instability as the 2 reasons why for top 3 reasons? Do you think when they say financial instability is rated number 3 and then the number 1 reason is lack of fulfillment, do you think they're the same thing when they're talking about
Correct.
these answers?
So poor
Wait, hold
black
on, you're saying
communities
they're the same thing.
have high instability, like I just mentioned to
So they're
Tyler,
the same thing. They're
which is
listing
going
it twice.
to drive. It's going to drive a lot of what you just said.
So Searkar, you're saying that they mean the same thing. They're doing double speak when they say this.
I know I said no such thing, but fine.
No, I'm asking you. Is that what they mean?
No, you're not asking me anything. You just asserted something, and I said no such thing.
No, I'm asking you. I'm saying if they say a lack of fulfillment and listed number 3 is a financial disparity, does that mean the same thing?
Financial disparity is part of instability and part of a socioeconomic driving factor, isn't it?
So if they list number 1 a lack of
Don't you think?
fulfillment, that doesn't mean financial instability.
Do you think income?
Number
Do you
3.
think income is a socioeconomic thing? What
Then why would they list it twice then, Searkar?
do you mean twice?
So if financial stability is what causes the lack of fulfillment, and then they're going to mention it again as the number 3 reasons, that doesn't make any sense, Searkar, for them to do that.
I'm a little confused here.
Because if
Maybe I need to
financial
read what you're reading.
stability is the number 1 reason, which you say, they're going to mention it as number 3 after financial stability is leading number 1 for lack of fulfillment. I don't think that that's what they mean by lack of fulfillment, because they wouldn't mention financial stability as the number 3 reason why they initiated divorces.
I don't think so either, but I don't think you can really infer anything because it's a fucking single question on a divorce paperwork, Marte.
The logic is not making sense here, Searkar, and you can't.
You're right. So stop trying to assume any conclusion from this stupid fucking survey.
This is you can't even counter the survey. That's insane.
Let me ask real quick.
Okay.
Are we debating on what Tyler brought up? Is that what we're debating on right now?
Yeah, we're talking about this. Yeah,
Kind of, I guess.
What I thought.
kind of. Yeah.
Thank you for looking it up, by the way, Tyler.
Yeah. So
no problem.
So with that being said, what do we have to refute on that? What is it about that we're trying to refute?
I wasn't refuting the fact that, again, absentee fatherhood is at its highest rate in black homes. I was merely pointing out that the presentation, which is kind of important to Marte's whole idea here, that it's crazy 75%, is a fabrication. It's really bad, but
So they're
there is a
lying?
difference between
These are all
statistics or
fabricated
numbers.
stats.
You can use statistics to lie a lot, Marte.
I have 7 I could bring up. Would you like to go through all 7 of these
great.
different sources?
I'm not really sure if you
Say the
understand
same
how
thing
statistics
here.
work,
They
Marte.
say the same thing.
Again, data sets are not claims. They're not conclusions. They're not inferences.
Okay, so if we're not using data and facts, what are we appealing to then, Searkar, in this debate?
But
No,
wouldn't,
you need to use them properly, Marte, not just use your vibes and fifis.
if we're looking at them like they're lying, wouldn't, if we're looking at them like they're lying, wouldn't
I didn't say
then
that. I didn't say that.
also,
I didn't say that.
Damn,
No,
that's
I didn't say
crazy.
that.
so if they're not lying, then how do the statistics not prove?
Numbers themselves are not what I said are liars.
So you're saying I'm
can use
lying
numbers
when I'm telling you a
To
straight
mislead
number.
people. And you can do this in a lying way. You can do this in an incidental way, actually. Believe it
I'm
or not. A lot of
literally
people think-
reading what they're saying. How am I lying if I'm reading verbatim what the stats say?
Oh yeah, what does the stats say?
You want me to send it to you? I'll send this in the back chat. Something you
I
haven't.
don't
been
need you
able
to.
do,
I want you to tell me
do this.
where you're reading this from, the website, or maybe if it's in an economic journal that actually knows how to use statistics and make an inference, or
International
maybe one.
Center for Multi-Generational Studies.
Okay.
And then there's
This is
more.
like a
I
meta-analysis.
can
What
send
is
you
it?
all this. Remember when I
meta-analysis?
asked you to send some stats or send in something to back up what you were saying and you were unable to do so? I can do that, and I'll do it right now,
I
actually.
don't think unable to do so is the correct thing there, but it's fine.
I mean, you haven't demonstrated this. Surely you were unable to do this, or you willingly weren't doing this. Didn't want to
It
do
was
this.
2 hours ago. If you really want me to waste time right now and go do that, Marte, I will do it just for you, man.
Crazy. I can't use Trust Me Bro as a source and then just say, oh, I'll believe you. Just because Searkar says so.
How ironic, because you're literally trust me broing right now because you have no idea how statistics work, and yet you're making a lot of inferences.
Cool. This will be in the back chat since I'm Trust Me Broing you so much. Here we go.
I feel like you don't even know what I just said.
There you go, Searkar. How's that for Trust Me Bro?
Why am I getting a 404? What's going on here? Hello? Are we live?
Yeah, we can hear you.
No, I meant like his link. It's broken. I think you're missing a part of it.
Hold on one second. My
Is it from medium.com? Is that what I'm seeing here?
hold on real quick. Pulling this up.
Are you giving me AI right now?
So you realize they took a conglomerate of all this. I'm going straight to one of the sites, the sources that they pulled this from. Give me 1 second.
Conglomerate? You mean try to perform a meta-analysis?
Hold on. I'm getting it for you right now. My mouse is
Okay.
funny. Give me 2 seconds.
I don't think it would be smart, by the way, to try and perform a conglomerate, I guess, something study
Hold
on
on,
just
I'm pulling
raw
it up.
data sets without really understanding what they're supposed to mean and how they're supposed to interact with each other, right?
So you're saying even if I showed you the data, you're gonna find a way to say I'm just gonna disprove this anyways because of this and that, and you're gonna try to poke holes in all this all the time. It's crazy.
No. If
You've done this the whole
your
time.
inference is backed by statistical methodology and good research,
So what
I
I'm
will
pulling up for
concede.
you right now, Searkar.
You can bet your ass that I will fucking concede. But right now, it seems to me that you don't even know what the basics of statistics are. But you are definitely confidently acting like you fucking do.
You say
It's really
I
weird.
don't know when I'm actively pulling this up right now. Give me 2 seconds, Searkar. Because I don't have to act when I can demonstrate. Remember I asked you for demonstrations this whole debate? Fuck. I don't know why my mouse isn't really clicking on this correctly. Give me 2 seconds. All right, luckily I got a touch screen, so I can use my fingers. So stupid. Damn, hold on real quick. I'll be back. Hold on, give me a sec, chat. I'm coming back. Just kind of accidentally deleted that link. Yeah, somehow my mouse is acting up, and I try to bring this in. Give me 1 second. Let me.
Be too stupid to realize you're responding to being mocked for obfuscating with obfuscating Google that keyboard man. Thank you for
I'll
this.
just make the L for this one. Yeah.
All right.
So, we haven't even done our closers yet. Do we want to close out and then do the
let's
the
do
30
it.
minutes of questions?
Yeah, that sounds good.
My computer's tapping out right now, so that's
Sure. Yeah.
yeah. Let's do
I
it.
think
and
I
then
found where it comes from, though. So yeah, we can do the closing.
I believe that who would it be? Who would be the closer that starts?
I'll let Searkar go.
Okay, Circa. Whenever you're ready, I'll go ahead and start your 5 minutes.
Traditionally, the negative is not supposed to go first, but
Negative.
affirmative should be going. Yeah.
Well, so you don't want to appeal to tradition now when you've done it the whole debate. Okay, we can do this. It's crazy. All right, I'll end by saying this. The crazy thing about my opponent is how much time do I got, by the way?
5 minutes, buddy. Sorry. Go ahead.
Hey, sorry, my computer's acting up, going haywire as usual. It's normative for me and my chat sees that. So the crazy thing about this debate is the whole premise relied on this culture that needs to be, and when I say destroyed, I meant removed. Destruction is removal, absent, right, completely in the end. So this is the whole thing that I'm talking about. If we eradicate the culture, meaning everything, even the good that you could say is good, it's Searkar's point saying them praising, worshiping and stuff like, you don't think we could replace this with something else like this, another praise worship, something like this? Like that's replaceable. That's easily replaceable with, there's different forms of Christianity. I would actually say orthodoxy would be even better, right? That's what I am. I'm an Orthodox Christian. Going back to this, I think that not only is that the only thing that he said was good, which is laughable in this whole debate, when I could name off a plethora of things that are bad. The fact that I could be called a coon for defending this position and being told I'm not a part of the Black community, that's what's so cultish about this. Hold on real quick. And to answer your question, Searkar, yes, the Black culture is a cult. You say anything disparaging about the negatives about Black culture, now all of a sudden you're not in it. The whole mantra about I'm pulling your card, you're not one of us. That's very cultish. Meaning our family won't talk to you anymore because you voted for Trump, all this, all a part of a cult. And all this is a definitive example of characteristics, cult-like behavior. But going back to this, my whole argument is that if we destroy Black culture, meaning the patterns, the belief systems, and this constant cyclical behavior that's detrimental to American culture going on right now with something more optimal, hell, I'd even say a European sense for the people that call me cult coons out here, I would say that that's even more optimal. We can replace this because if we destroy Black culture, like the music videos and all this that Searkar says are nonsensical and he didn't want to address, the drug culture, the gangbang culture, all this other stuff, all that has been propagandized to our culture. If we destroy all this and all the excuses that we have are going the way of the dodo bird, we're not going to hold on to we was slaves, we was kangs and all this. That needs to go away somewhere. I think we should destroy that and replace it with something more optimal. European culture is more optimal than what we have. I would say the culture of Blacks in Africa in 2026 is more optimal than what we have. There's so much more that we can replace this with. It just needs to go away. I'm constantly having to fight this on debates and fight Black culture the whole time. The last debate I had was with the angry Black women by stating that Black women are too masculine. What did she do? Prove that Black women are too masculine, thus talking about the culture that we have. Culture is more than what I've stated. And Searkar's right about this. We can't isolate this to like gangbanging culture, baby daddy. It's so much more. And yes, the topic was generalized to such a wide, I would say it's so general that we could talk about anything, but I'm referring to Black culture in 2026. We should destroy it and replace it with something more optimal. And that's my whole argument. That's all I'm saying. And my opponent hasn't addressed this or offered a counter or a solution to this. He says, yeah, it's bad, but maybe it'll fix itself is what I'm guessing he thinks. Like, it's not going to fix itself. We need to start with something. By destroying it through propagandization, because that's how we got here. mind you, this whole materialistic culture we have, and eradicate it through positive messaging and funnel money through media campaigns, things like this. And, something better than this. Like, I can bring up way more better programs to integrate into the Black culture to replace this with. We need to at least start a catalyst on replacement value. That's all we need. We can replace it. It's good. But right now, it's not going to fix itself. And the trajectory we have right now, other cultures are copying Black culture right now. White culture is copying this right now. Is that helping? No, it's not optimal for even any other culture to adopt this. So anyways, I can see my time. My opponent hasn't addressed the argument or even offered a counter to this whole debate. That's it.
Thank you. And Searkar, whenever you're ready.
Okay. Normally in this conversation, I feel like I find a little bit of catharsis. And instead, I feel like I just discovered a mere frustrating and temporal headache, which seemed to be just unforgiving and kind of unrelenting. And what I mean by that is, I feel like this issue should be a little more clear. For one, my opponent, Marte, was supposed to be advancing the destruction of Black culture in the United States. Again, very loaded. I guess the concession here is that in the future, we might be able to have a debate in which the loaded prompt is less disadvantageous to him. But in my opinion, what we most certainly are going to defend, instead, even in that one, is just frustration with certain behaviors, certain neighborhoods, certain trends, certain videos, images. And I obviously understand that they sound kind of forceful in the moment, but it is still an evasion. It is lazy. It is not a resolution. It is unrelenting, frustrating, and unforgiving. And to me, that distinction kind of matters a lot. I don't really care about making people feel bad and shameful about Black history or what it was like to be Black or be a slave. It's not really something I fucking care about. But I just don't think Marte really wants to either. He doesn't want to understand at least the history of the United States at the very least, and something I feel like probably should care more about. We shouldn't be replacing Black culture here. It is a part of the U.S. and it can be better. You know, if you separate culture though from the pathology, like I've been trying to show him is what he needs to realize, because a lot of these things are not isolated to Black culture. All of this loses its shape. It's nothing more than just a forceful rhetorical trick. And I feel like condemning a history of survival, faith, kinship, music, language, art, memory, all these things, and adaptation, especially under extraordinary pressure, are things that I feel like Black history and Black culture in the U.S. have. Those are all positive things. And I don't think we should just erase that. I feel like that's disrespectful. We can select harmful norms, and I feel like he's already conceded that, and I've made it clear that that's something that needs to be addressed. But again, harmful norms are not the same thing as Black culture. It's just narrower, more contingent, sounds really good, especially when you're talking on your end. Definitely open to criticism, and then all you're doing is just closing it up whenever you need to address criticism of it. And it's not something necessary at all. Cultural destruction is not necessary to fix these things. And I don't really think that I have to prove every expression of modern Black life is healthy, by the way. That's just a lie anyway. White culture is not perfect. It needs to be better in a lot of ways too. I don't think I need to sit here and give an affirmative of why Marte doesn't need to tell me why Black culture doesn't need to be destroyed. I don't think this works that way. I don't have to deny crime. I don't have to deny chaos or social breakdown. I only have to prove that Marte's position is kind of fucking shallow, and I feel like it is unstable definitionally, and the remedy he kind of gives is reckless. If you want to take this historically and disadvantaged idea and rename it to culture or the pathology of what we're talking about, which definitely existed, then we are just relabeling all of that culture that isn't pathology into a moral permission for eradication. I think it's just intellectually weak again, dishonest. I think it dodges the whole slavery's aftermath, which was not just about chattel slavery. I think it misses Reconstruction's betrayal. I think it misses criminalization. I think it doesn't try to understand the mindset of Black people, which is real. It has been throughout history, something that, Black people should be proud of. And I don't think the shadow of the segregation and the, chattel slavery past is the front running idea here in that case. Now, I feel like I don't really know if I'll get votes for the negative here. It's okay though. I can take it. But I don't think every problem was solved here. I do feel like every norm deserves praise in some way. Or sorry, not every norm deserves some praise. But I think because destroying a people's culture is not a serious answer to this social failure and also social success. And I don't think it ever was. So I'll just end it there.
Okay. And that ends the debate there then at that point in time. So now we go into the 30-minute question from the audience. Did we ask questions, Tyler? Or did we already ask questions? Or were you just confirming things before?
Well, I was just clarifying. I was looking into those.
That's what I thought.
The
The reason I ask is I don't know if you noticed Recluse in the chat. He's obviously a Searkar fan, and he wanted to ask a question, and it looks like he might have dipped before we got to the panel. The audience
says,
question.
Oh God, in my chat. What did you do, Recluse?
And I didn't want to ignore his question, and it seemed like he thinks that we did ignore it, and so I wanted to bring that up and apologize to Recluse if he is still watching. But he wants to ask Marte. He says what he thinks culture is and how culture develops. In particular, does culture develop overnight or does it develop over a period of time? If the latter, can we talk about that? And then he goes on and says culture in 2026 without engaging with history, which he refused to do the whole debate. So what do you think about that, Marte?
Well, we can't talk about destroying history. We can't talk about destroying like the transatlantic slave history. I've actually addressed this when I said currently we're talking about destroying this now. Do we need to have, let's say that history never existed. Would that stop us from being able to destroy current modernity, like the cultural norms right now? And when I'm talking about definitionally, my viewpoint on what Black culture is, we're talking about the cyclical norms of acceptance of Black culture, like the prominent abortion, crime rate, fatherless homes. I would even say the labeling that we have of Uncle Toms for ICE agents, things like this. All these are just cultural narratives that we have in our culture that should be eliminated. This culture has also eliminated progressive movement. And I'm not talking about from a liberal sense, progressing towards higher education, developing better communities, things like this. What happens is if I talk with perfect grammar, I'm talking white, which is a bastardization of education in Black communities. That's what I'm referring to as Black culture. I can at least point to things and say that this needs to be revamped, that needs to be changed, because Searkar says, well, you can't bring up numbers because there's all these correlations that can happen. And that, we could talk about all this, but I'm like, those are the stats. These are the facts. And this is detrimental towards Black culture, which is this melting pot of things that Black people have adopted once all this has been destroyed time and time again. Searkar also makes a claim and says, you can't destroy Black culture, but then previous to all this says Black culture has been destroyed numerous amounts of times, which is contradictory in a sense. So that's what I'm saying. Hopefully it answers your question. We should eliminate this and adopt a better culture. And culture takes, remember when I said 15 years, maybe, or time? Let's say that this does happen overnight. Well, good. This all makes my claim that there needs to be a change. So the debate really is Black culture should be changed because that's what's going to happen if we destroy this. We create a void which needs to be replaced by something else. Something's always going to replace this. And I offered a solution, which Searkar is saying, no, that's not viable. Well, leave it as it is not a solution. That's it.
Is that a concession?
No, it's not a concession.
Did I win?
No, I'm saying that this should be destroyed. We should replace it. Still my same premise.
Okay.
It was a joke.
Fair enough. Tyler, do you have any questions that you saw in the chat or any super chats that were questions?
No, not really.
I see that Bandit did ask one. I believe it was Bandit. Let me see if I can find it now. Of course, no, I'm not gonna be able to find it. It goes back to what is culture, if I remember seeing it right.
Did I miss it?
Let's see. Where is it? There it is. Trey. It was Trey. I'm sorry, Trey. What is black culture? Not all black people have the same culture. So what is culture? And I'll pose that to either one of you.
Yeah, not all black people have the same culture, but if I'm talking about as I would say unification of America, if we were to unify blacks, what would be the predominant culture overwhelmingly? Well, remember what I said earlier in the debate that Iraq is safer, being in Iraq is safer than being adjacent to black culture in Atlanta or Chicago. Well, that's becoming more normative now as Mamdani is taking over New York and socialism is running amok. A lot of black people are supporting this. Not only this, but black culture is also something that has been co-opted by other culture like LGBTQ, everything else. The Jaden person that was fired from the NBA, black culture would be pissed if he said something about Trump and then he was fired from the NBA team. They'd be pissed, burning down cities and all this. But the moment he says, oh, we're firing him because he spoke out a bit against LGBTQ because he supported Christian beliefs. Oh, there are no cars burning. That shows you that it's co-opted by other movements and all these other agendas. That's why it should be destroyed. You'll never be co-opted as a cockpit if you destroy the plane entirely. Just get a new plane, replace it with something better. And if something gets in the ejection seat or the seat of the plane, it'll be more optimal because we'll have a purpose. We've never had a purpose driven towards this is the outcome we need for the black community. There's no agenda, no programs for this. It's just throw money at problem. Maybe it'll fix itself. That's a bad way to have this black culture. And that's the black culture we have now, as it were.
Whoa. Did you say, wait. I agree with part of that in the ending there. You said there was never a purpose? Is that what I heard?
Yeah, when I'm talking about never purpose, let me clarify this. I'm talking about purpose as far as building the community, something that's tantamount to evolving into something that's productive. Like, remember what I said about BLM?
What if these communities
money from everybody else?
What if these communities historically and within your grandfather's lifetime were forcibly and coercively not able to do that?
Yeah, that's true. That has happened, but that's not the culture that I want to destroy, is it?
I mean, you don't want to destroy the criminalization of black culture?
The criminalization of black culture, what I'm talking about is I'm not talking about destroying a culture that was in the past. You can't do that.
I want to destroy the criminalization of black culture. Actually, I feel like it'd be beneficial.
Unless you get a time machine, you're like, I'm going to destroy the transatlantic slave industry or something like that. We can't do that.
The transatlantic slave industry was chattel slavery, very different than what I'm talking about. Before the Civil War,
changing the past.
Before the Civil War, Martin,
I'm referring to
before the Civil War. Okay, common words to describe a black person. All right, Marte, was loyal. A good worker, healthy, will do what he's told, docile. Those were words were used to describe black people after the Civil War, most importantly after Reconstruction, because the North, for about 10 years, had soldiers down in the South. Some black people were able to get into office, blah, blah. But as soon as the North had to withdraw their troops, the South started to look to different, and I know I'm being general here, so just keep this in mind. It's just for a historical reference, okay? What happened is because of the 14th Amendment, they looked for other ways to do slavery. And this found the form of criminalization, because you could make people slaves if you criminalize them and put them into debt. So this is where things like vagrancy laws came from.
Yeah, I know. Laws were formed partially because of this. I know. Yeah.
So Marte, the criminalization of black culture, which still exists today because of systemic reasons, not because people are individually fucking racist or something, but because the Civil Rights Act on paper doesn't just get to fucking magically, wand wave it away.
So I'm glad
there's a reason criminalization is.
Can I address that one point though? Can I address that? I'm going to address that one point. Remember in the debate when I said that black women are initiating the majority of divorces, thus causing single parent homes from happening? And then even Tyler looked up the information and I went ahead and supplemented my information as well too. If we look at this, I asked you, I said, well, okay, criminalization causes single parent homes, even though women are leading in divorces. I'm like, well, can you correlate these two? Couldn't do it. It's crazy how that happened. But it's like when we dive into this discussion and I bring up facts and you bring up the historical narrative, I keep bringing it to the present because that's the current iteration of black culture that I want to be destroyed and eliminated. And when I talk about destroyed, I'm talking about removal and a replacement. And the way you could do this is through media, other campaigns, and there's other ways to do this. I'm not talking about some harmful destruction of people. I'm just talking about the behaviors and cyclical patterns that we have.
Marte, the percentage of black people in totality who have never been married is around, I want to say, and this is another statistic that may have a lot of deviation to it, so keep that in mind, is much higher than your average American.
You know why that is?
Do you have any idea why?
Is that cultural? Yeah, it's because of the culture. It's because that's cultural. We're accepting this. We're adapting this. A lot of men are steering away from marriages, not just black.
When you say cultural, you are saying that there is a belief, an implied, inherited idea that
black women
marriage is actually something black women and men do not want.
Black women are more often than not more masculine than any other women in culture. I've demonstrated this more often.
Marte, if you say black culture, but they don't want to be married,
why men are avoiding marriage?
Marte, stop, listen. If you are saying black culture actually advances the idea that black people do not want to be married, that's is insane.
Cultural, yes.
You think they just wake up and go, we don't really want to be married.
No,
we don't actually like each other.
Overnight. This didn't happen overnight. But as far as the depiction as the black people and all this, and we have to be strong no matter what, I'm a survivor and independent women. All this is media. All this is propagandization from Beyonce's, all this other stuff. Black women
about any of that. I don't give a fuck.
That's cultural.
I don't care. I don't care about what you just said.
I don't care about culture. That's what we're talking about. That's crazy.
No, because you're just like acting as if divorce rates, which conveniently marriage is not common in black families, at much higher rates is going to tell us.
Is that not cultural?
Anything about black fatherlessness.
Cultural. That's cultural. That has become normative and acceptable culture.
But black people don't get married, Marte. How are you going to figure anything out about their culture from divorce rates if they don't fucking get married?
Right. You're conceding the whole debate. If they don't get married and that is the current culture, that should be changed and destroyed, right? To where they're married, they're getting married again, right? It should be a replacement.
Aren't you using divorce rates, Marte, to try and
you see how you're just evading right now? That's crazy.
No, you're using divorce rates of black people as substance in your argument.
No,
but black people don't get married.
No.
So divorce rates will not be that much representative of black people.
You literally just conceded. You said black people aren't currently getting married. Right. To which I said, well, shouldn't they get married? Because that's the cultural norm of acceptance right now, which we don't want to engage in, which proves my whole point. That needs to be changed. We should destroy this whole narrative of blacks not getting married and reintroduce marriage, which they're having higher rates in African countries. Reintroduce something else that's more optimal than what we have.
What fucking language do I have to talk to you in so you understand and actually listen to the words I'm saying?
Perhaps common sense, maybe listen, maybe respond, use a little logic.
So let me propose.
Logic here is black families don't get married. So how do you know anything about black culture when there's no marriage happening? And then you look at divorce rates.
Okay, so
it doesn't represent black
history.
People.
Did they used to get
so
married?
You look at divorce rates, which is going to be a very small subsection of black families. And then you're like, black culture, divorce rate.
Should that change?
Except no one fucking gets married.
That should be changing, right? We should change that to marriage rates higher, right? We should change that, right? That's
what makes
more black people getting married might actually help your argument if it fucking happens. Yes,
you're making my argument for me. That needs to be changed. The current iteration right now isn't going well. How's that going for you right now? If we change that and they start getting married,
it would be enough for you to make substance arguments out of thin air.
That's because you're not making an argument. You're not countering anything I've said in this whole debate. That's crazy, Searkar. I expected better.
I just have to disagree with that statement. I think it's just factually fucking untrue.
I believe it. I believe in you, Searkar. Somewhere there's a rebuttal somewhere to this whole debate. You've not once offered one. That's crazy.
So it might be in Pig Latin. I'm not sure.
What makes culture? What creates culture?
Yeah, what creates culture?
History, beliefs, tradition,
patterns,
rituals,
artifacts. Things like that.
Tradition, patterns,
tradition,
people, right?
From
so I'm
did
curious.
You inherit it or
there's
do you
a question.
learn it?
there's a question in the chat that for both of you, both Seeker and Marte, you're both adult males, human beings with superior intellect, of course. Would Marte's grandfather consider present day black fathers, men, to be considered better or worse off, and why?
Interesting question. I actually think not possible to answer.
I
When
can
people
answer
look
that.
at generation, I know you think you can. That's great. But unfortunately, we don't really have access. Even if you had all the information in the world, Marte, you cannot compare generations.
No,
like
hold on.
happiness
You said
and
he
feeling good.
Did you read the question?
Imagine
Searkar?
comparing happiness to 1970
Hold
and then
on.
comparing happiness to now,
This
and then being
eating
like,
up too
we're
slow
happier
now.
back then. But then it doesn't matter because you can't compare fucking different times. Even if you had all the information
Did
in
you
the
read
world,
the chatter's
there's
question?
too much stochastic fucking problems here, okay? You have no idea how social media affects this. You have no idea how 1970s actually thinks about happiness. You have no idea
Tyler,
what the surveys were.
Can you
So-
bring up the
Unless
prompt?
you think you
Bring
can
up the
answer
question again,
If you
Tyler,
think you
real
can answer this, Marte,
Post the
please
question
fucking
again.
submit your submission
Yeah,
to the
bring up the question,
fucking,
please.
Harvard right now, bro.
Hold on, Searkar. Real quick, I do want to shout out World Radio because I didn't actually say who posed that question. Thank you very much for the super chat and the question. But it says, would Marte's grandfather? That's the thing.
Yes.
Is actually specifically about Marte's
Doesn't change
grandfather.
anything.
Oh, I
and
can
would he
ask my
consider present-day
grandfather.
father?
So I can ask my grandfather, since you say I wouldn't know, who is alive today on my dad's side. I can ask him and say, "Hey, Grandpa, do you think that this is the case?" Would that not answer the question? That's literally what
Sorry,
the question
is
says.
one black person able to speak for all of black culture?
What does the question say? Does it say Marte's grandfather? Is that
bro.
one person?
Are you kidding me? It says
Searkar,
Marte's
Searkar.
grandfather.
Does the question say Marte's grandfathers or father?
It
One
sure as fuck
person.
doesn't say Marte's fucking block on the street. It says grandfather. One dude.
Yes.
Right.
You just
Right.
What if he has a good job? What if he has a good job?
We're past our debate. We're past the debate.
Community
Crazy.
doesn't have a good job.
We're past the debate of the prompt, and now we're into the questions from the audience. So this is a particular question that is an outlier, is an anecdotal, yes.
Yeah,
But considering
It
that
might
we
give us
do
some insight.
have that, it is a
might give us some
question
insight.
from the
Yeah.
customer.
Just the question.
It
That's
might,
all it
it might give us some insight. I don't think discrediting it is the right move, but I don't think it's really going to give us enough to make any decision or at least impact the debate.
I can agree
It
with
is
you, but I can also
Question
answer the
that we shouldn't
question,
discredit,
too.
though.
I can
Right.
agree with that. I agree with you, Searkar, but I'm answering the chatter's question and have to be in all accuracy. He asked my grandfather, which I can do. You literally said, no, Marte can't do that, which was crazy, which means you didn't read the question.
Are you your grandfather? Are you your grandfather? Also, again, the reason you can't do it, Marte, is not because you don't know your grandfather enough, which is what I think you're assuming now. The
It says,
reason is
"Would
because
grandfather would
comparing
say that.
comparing entire generations through time.
That's not
is
what
something
the
that has
question
too many-
says, though. It's not what the question says.
Are
Through
you
time.
sure? What does the present day black father mean?
Yeah. Present day grandfather talking about black fathers.
Compared to
He's
what?
asking for an anecdote. This is an anecdote, right?
He's asking for a comparison across generations, Marte,
Is this
right?
an anecdote, though, about my
It's
grandfather?
an anecdotal comparison across
right.
what? Time and generations.
Right, but I have to
Right.
ask my grandfather. I can do
You
that.
can't
right?
really do
I
that
can
because
do
there's
that.
too many stochastic implications here.
Does that answer the
Sorry.
question, though? Does that directly answer the chatter's question?
Yes, it does.
Thank
it's
you.
not really
All
something
right,
you can
let's
answer.
move on. That's just crazy.
So
In the same
with
way, I
that
won't
being-
say that during chattel slavery, black people were better off than when debt peonage happened. It's really difficult to make these fucking claims.
So I
That's my
am
point.
curious, since that question was posed, what would your father think, Searkar? What would your grandfather think?
Good question,
About that
yeah.
question?
I mean, anecdotally, I have no idea. No idea.
Yeah, anecdotally. I mean, I understand you not knowing, but going back to the
No,
anecdotal,
I mean, like not knowing in like the literal sense, like Marte's version, not like my statistical one. I actually just don't really know his opinions or him that well.
But you can ask him, right? That's possible.
Actually, I do. I have a grandpa in North Carolina who I think would probably think black people need to be slaves again.
Yeah.
But I don't
Well, I
really
mean,
think his
answer the
opinion
question,
matters.
yeah. You can ask,
Spanish.
him, right? There you go. Yeah. That's
So,
all
yeah,
he was saying. That's all he was saying.
He also says he golfed with Arnold Palmer. I'm not sure if that's true either. So
fair.
Yeah. I mean, yeah.
Is there any other questions that you have, Tyler?
I got this super chat from Fuck It Button says, give keyboards a break. He's unable to comprehend that World Radio's question is an ought. Thank you for that $5 super chat. Just got to read them all, right? You know what I mean? It's not really a question.
Ought? There's like an ontological aspect to future and the past. Interesting. Very interesting.
But again, that kind of. Sorry, Tyler. I didn't mean to interrupt you. Go ahead, buddy.
No, you're good. I'll find it. I think I had another question in here.
Hopefully, yeah.
I do want to say to the chat, if you guys can donate and super chat, it'll bump your testosterone up 10%. I can't prove this scientifically, but I'm sure that's accurate somewhere. So if you guys can, these guys have worked really hard moderating this debate. So send in super chats if you guys can. It also supports me to support them. So
thank you.
Yeah, heck yeah. We appreciate any super chats that we've got, of course, and any questions that we've proposed. And as always, if you do have a question, you don't have the money to ask it per se, we will take questions for another 15 minutes or so.
Yeah.
But again, going back to, what makes culture, what is the acts that compose culture? If it's not the people doing the things, then what is it?
Well, the acts over time are history, correct?
I would say that's accurate.
So culture cannot exist without history.
Yeah, for sure. But we can't change history. We can't change history. But what we can do is
I never said change history.
Well, hold on.
Fact,
well, why bring it up? We
kind of
understand how
I kind of rallied against that, right? I think we should not just destroy and replace. And
I think we can't. We should, because it's been done before. Why not do it with good outcomes and then have a plan? All I'm doing is proposing a plan in something better, more optimal. That's all I'm doing, and you're railing against that, which is crazy.
I am not railing against maybe having some systemic claims about maybe providing funding in certain ways that could systemically solve criminality and the pathology you described in Black culture.
That's going to destroy.
That's not your argument right now.
Black culture, you can just
you think that you can sneak that in, and that'll be your entire argument right now. But
just
that's not going to work.
Debate again.
I'm sorry.
So,
is that all Black culture?
Oh, you're going to wiggle out of that concession. Okay, let's continue. It's fine.
I'm going to wiggle out of the fact that the fucking debate prompt is literally Black culture and not just criminality in Black neighborhoods. Wow, crazy, dude.
Oh, is that not baked into Black culture? Wow, that's crazy.
If you think Black culture is only criminality in Black neighborhoods, then that's a you problem.
Searkar, man, crazy, bro.
We do have a couple of questions in the chat, as I asked the Vigilante TV, it looks like, asked, Marte, can you call your grandpa and ask him for us? Do it right now live.
My grandpa was a Black Panther, and he was in the NAACP. He's got quite the history with pamphlets of us being looked at as pickaninnies and all this stuff. My grandfather educated me on a lot of that stuff. It was crazy. But yeah, you can't disregard history. I'll agree with Searkar on this. You can't disregard history, but in its current iteration, we should remove that. I think that there should be things like anything to reduce the crime rate. If you're going to reduce the crime rate, increase marital rates, and also, not to mention this, but decrease abortion rates, that's destructive toward the bad things that we don't want in our culture. And I think that's a good thing.
Well, acknowledging the history and the criminality of Black neighborhoods would do just that. Maybe start there.
Acknowledging it doesn't do anything, because they brought up critical race theory, and all that's done is just bring awareness. That doesn't do anything for us.
No one has brought up critical race theory. Even BLM.
That's not helping
have no idea. They have no idea what the fuck that phrase means. It's pretty complicated. It's like a graduate level Black historical class. So I don't know why people even try to talk about it. It's kind of complicated, and
I'll admit it is
something that I believe
it's nonsensical though.
Bell, the guy who came up with this idea, right? Marte, who was the first Black professor at Harvard, if I'm mistaken. It is very interesting when you look at critical race theory, but it is not whatever people in BLM or whatever organizer you want to think of right now expresses it as. So I don't know. Even people who think they know CRT are usually not presenting it well.
Well, and another thing about history and the change of the culture is the trend that we're seeing as well would then it be also in that culture, would it not? That trend that we're seeing to get worse and worse and worse over time.
Do you think there's actually a trend in black culture to want to get worse?
Not want to get worse.
Yeah.
It just
Okay,
seems
so
like
this
it's
is-
trending that way.
See, the
It
big
is
thing
trending
about
that way.
when it comes to these ideas, though, we need to talk about incentives.
So the potato brings up a good point. The trending that we're
Incentives
talking
are
about is
important here,
point to the
You have
stats
to
of
think about
behavior,
why
primary
people
rising, single
accept
mother
abortion
rising.
or why people.
All these are trends.
Okay, we have to talk about why black families accept the idea that black fatherlessness is, is more accepted, right? It's not because they want that.
No,
right?
they do.
The incentive there is not,
They
I want-
do want this. They're initiating these divorces because of low fulfillment rates. Is that not a desire or want? They're choosing this because of those things.
Oh yeah, sure. Let's just say sure.
Yeah, that's a want, bro.
Yeah, for sure, totally.
Oh, you're just gonna
The incentive there makes.
That's crazy.
I know because it's so profoundly fucking dumb, bro. I have no idea how to describe to you how the incentive there makes zero fucking sense whatsoever.
Because you don't want it to make
Biologically,
sense.
a
Even though
human is not going to be like, I can't wait to fucking abandon my fucking child because
I
of
agree.
my
I
want
never
for a
said
black
that. That's
culture
not
that
what I
does
said.
that.
You
said they
reframing what I
wanted
said.
this.
What I said was, why are they
I am?
initiating divorces? Not getting into
'Cause they
marriage.
want it,
Why can't
right?
we to divorce this guy?
They want it, right? You think you say they want it?
What's the reason for the outcomes that these women are stating by their
That's a
own
good
words?
question. Maybe think about that one instead of they want it. Maybe. What do you think?
Wait, if they're saying
start
this
there?
why and they
Wanna start there,
initiate,
maybe?
is that not a want? If I initiate something, is that
Maybe.
something I want? Maybe it's something I don't want, but am I doing this willingly in choosing why I want to do this? That's a part of a want too, right?
No one really wants to get divorced, but when you get divorced, you want it to happen, right?
But
Yeah.
that's
Correct.
that's
They
Martin?
want it to happen out of these reasons. That's why.
Do you
that's-
get married
that's
to
an
in the
oxymoron
future
by saying that.
will your divorce?
What?
Can I interject in
Or
here?
you get married so you can
go
have
ahead.
Hold on,
the want
guys.
to get divorced.
Hold on, guys. Tyler wants to have the
I
floor.
just want
for a
to
second.
interject in here.
ahead, Tyler.
I think we're leaving out an external factor when it comes to single mothers, single black mothers, or the divorce rates, in that there is an incentive from the government
Yes.
to be a single mother. And that
Right.
goes
It's a
across
good
the
point,
board,
yes.
black, white,
Right.
everything like
Yes.
that. And then there's another factor is a lot of men, and maybe not a lot, but there are some situations where men don't even know that they're actually a father.
Correct.
So they're
Yeah.
like just
It happens with
completely
instability
unaware
and
of it.
poverty. This is more of a socioeconomic driving
That's
factor.
part of
Now,
our culture.
I want to push
Yes.
back on poverty does influence culture, Marte, but
That's
you'd
not the
be
number one reason
naive.
cited. Also, by the way, I'd like to remind you.
It is the number one driving reason for the things you care about right now.
So divorce. Okay, so when it says financial reasons, third place, and the third reason, that's the driving reason if it's ranked third.
No, socioeconomic reasons.
So
What is-
feeling
fulfillment's number one,
unfulfilled
right?
is
Fulfillment
socioeconomic
is number one.
when finances are
Fulfillment is
third.
number one, right? Fulfillment is number one, correct?
Yes, and then they mention finances as number 3.
So number
Do they
one,
mean the same
fulfillment
thing?
could actually be fulfillment could actually be descriptions of maybe they don't make enough, and that's what they put. I want someone who can fulfill what I want in a family, have stability.
So if I mention things like I
You
don't
have to
like
act-
certain, well, hold
you
on,
have
hold
to
on.
actually literally
Hold on,
write
hold on.
fucking finances, Marte.
Hold
What are
on.
you doing?
That makes no
Let him talk
sense.
for a minute.
This makes no sense because if I give you a
No, it
survey of things that people don't like to drink, and they mention alcohol, and then they mention water, and then they mention Budweiser as number 3.
Except
Did they
fulfillment
mention
can
alcohol
encompass
twice?
income, Marte.
What's the-
Coca-Cola
hold on,
cannot
let me
encompass
finish.
Right.
Let me finish. So if you mention an alcoholic beverage as number 3 as a reason why, and they mention alcohol as number 3, and they mention Budweiser as number 3, they're basically doing some double speak here. That doesn't make any sense logically. You realize that,
No,
right?
it would be the other way, Marte. It would be the other way. It would be the other way. Number one is an alcoholic beverage. Number 3 is Budweiser.
Yes, alcohol. Yeah, they mentioned it twice. Alcohol was mentioned twice in that survey. What people don't like.
Marte, this is a really important moment for you to actually understand something for once.
Good
Okay.
Lord,
So
this is
alcohol here
insane.
could actually include Budweiser, actually, It encompasses Budweiser, even if Budweiser has its own position on this chart.
So with fulfillment,
But Budweiser cannot include all of the alcoholic drinks.
so if you take fulfillment, do you think financial reasons is the number one reason why when finances is
I
said
didn't
as
say
third
that.
reason
I
why?
said fulfillment could include a financial reason.
Okay, let's say
Actually,
let's say it includes financial reasons, and they mention it's the third reason why. What do you think is the majority
Why
reason?
would they mention it as a third reason? They mentioned fulfillment.
And let me ask my
mentioned fulfillment.
question. Let me ask my question. What do you think is the majority of reason why they say
get a multiple
fulfillment?
choice.
Why do you think is the majority reason why they say unfulfilled when finances are mentioned third? Do you think it's the majority reason why? So they're mentioning finances twice?
No, they just mentioned
Okay, thank you.
unfulfillment,
Shit.
and it could actually mean
God, this
finances.
is crazy. It's like pulling teeth, bro. This is crazy.
It is because you don't understand how
It's
these things work.
redundant. It's redundant to think
Did
that
they get
they're
a
going to
multiple
mention this
choice question?
twice.
Did they get to answer D, all of the above, bro, or what?
Nobody is
to be-
going to see finances twice. Like that's redundant. They could fill in the gap with something else like abuse is number 3. They don't have to mention it twice.
Divorce paperwork, Marte. Do you think they're going to give you their life story on this fucking simple survey question?
Oh, so you want to not concede to stats. There was 7 that I could pull up saying the same thing. You're saying, well, just going to ignore that too.
Marte, are you happy? Are you happy?
Well, if I cite why I'm happy,
You
or
have
that it's
yes or no,
happiness,
Marte. Are you happy?
destroying you in a debate, I'm obviously happy. Yeah, for sure.
So you're a yes. Okay, so did I accurately?
Christ
and,
is God, by the way, too.
Truthfully, did I
Show us your
actually
presence.
describe your happiness just now? Did I describe anything about it?
No,
said yes,
you didn't
but-
describe anything regarding the happiness. Right.
Congratulations, bro. We've passed the first section of statistics. Let's go. Surveys are stupid sometimes.
So
Let's
the
go.
problem with this is when they mention feeling unfulfilled, it says feeling unfulfilled. That's a feeling, right? You can separate this.
Those are
from
notoriously really easy to
materialism
pin
and
down.
money
Feelings,
and
bro. I love
disparity
that.
when it comes to
Fucking
financial capital. right?
Numerical as hell. I'm a
You
9
can-
on the feeling.
You can create a distinction between the two and separate them, right, Searkar? This is slow boy logic here, bro.
Oh, I can.
Right. Okay. It's crazy.
Do you think fulfillment might actually come from someone not making enough money? That would be unfulfilling.
When they say feeling unfulfilled and they say financial
Yeah.
disparity is number 3.
I'm unfulfilled because I don't have a fucking Porsche in my driveway. That's fucked up. I'm unfulfilled.
Yeah, maybe you don't have
Divorce.
it, but it doesn't tell you why. It's just saying a feeling.
You're correct. It doesn't. You're correct. You're
Right.
correct.
It doesn't tell you
So it
why.
might be financial.
But number 3 says why. Why would they go ahead and mention it twice? Can you tell me why?
They don't. These are separate answers on different divorce
No, they're not
paperwork.
the
I don't
same
know why you
answers.
think they
Number
answered
one
this
is not
all
the-
together.
So
Like it's a fucking
financial
Scantron.
unfulfillment doesn't mean financial disparity, right?
Is there a multiple choice here? Are they able to go, wait, I'm unfulfilled, not financial?
They're not the same thing if they list them as reasons why. They're not the same thing, right, Searkar? Let's nip
How
this
do they
in the
know
bud.
what to list, what the answers are, though? Is it fill in the blank?
So you don't want to answer the question. All right, well, I'll continue because Searkar is just going to keep obfuscating and never answer the question. This is insane.
Hey, man, remember, I'm clairvoyant. I know what answer is going to be on the divorce
Finances
paperwork.
means
Don't worry.
everything finances. Is that not accurate? Does that not only talk about money wise? That's pretty distinct, right? Financial disparity.
No, you're correct.
Fulfillment.
correct.
When they
But
talk about
unfulfilled.
feeling fulfilled, that's just a feeling.
Unfulfilled.
Unfulfilled.
Unfulfilled is not
Feeling
very clear.
unfulfilled. Feeling unfulfilled could be elective. That's more elective. That could be the sky is blue. That could be he breathed
Which
wrong.
one's number
Anything
one?
else.
Which one's number one? Which one's number one?
Not specific.
Unfulfilled, right?
Feeling unfulfilled is number 1. Number 3 is
Okay,
financial
so it's not.
disparity.
You just said the number one, which is not very specific and not
Number 1
distinct.
isn't specific. It's a feeling. People leave more than
Exactly.
random feelings. More than financial disparity is being listed as number 3. Thank you.
But what if you didn't list the financial disparity, but it is still the
You just
unfulfillment?
hate getting bodied in the debate, and this is crazy. I thought you would be more of a challenge, but hey, we're here now, bro. I appreciate you showing
I'm
up.
just curious where you live because somehow your divorce paperwork has a Scantron multiple choice question on it. I just feel like that's a little weird.
Searkar, you're
So I'm
Searkar, the best you could do, donate a super chat to these two gentlemen for having to put up with your obfuscation the whole time. I think they put in the work having to moderate this whole debate.
They are doing a good job.
maybe
They are
handle
doing a good
the whole
job.
debate. This is crazy.
So that actually wraps up the 30-minute back and forth, or the 30-minute question and answer from the audience. I am curious on that last bit there, and not quite sure how to ask it. So maybe we'll have to set up another debate sometime or something like that. But
Yeah, I'm down.
I will leave it up
Okay.
to Tyler as the host and you guys if we want to continue. But that does wrap up the 30-minute question and answer from the audience. So you guys let me know what you think.
Right. Well, I'll just say, if you've given us 33 hours of your time
hours,
this evening. So it's completely up to you if you guys want to go on. What we can also revisit this in a more of a refined manner in a week or two if you guys want to. It's completely up to you guys. You guys can reach out to me on Discord. You don't have to make a decision right now.
Right. Yeah. Nothing pressure wise, but yeah, I'm curious. I am curious personally on more of a refined prompt on this because yeah, I was kind of interested in seeing how this went, and we didn't really have anything to nail down on to debate today. So yeah,
I think
go
that
ahead.
means I win, right?
I wouldn't necessarily say that, but
I did my job. I sowed the seeds of doubt.
again, well, that's fair, but we do have to go off of statistics that are written down. You know, the winner makes the rules, but it is still the rules, and so we do have
Hey, man,
to
you
go
see a
off of
guitar
the
on my wall.
statistics that are written down.
I really like rock and roll and metal. I like that part of Black culture. Okay.
Well, and that's the thing is that Black culture, or is that
Rooted?
just
Yes.
culture?
It is rooted in Black culture. It is rooted in Black culture, 100%.
But is that just culture at that
The
point
elements
in
of
time?
bluegrass and rock and roll? Absolutely.
I agree. That is all a part of the historical narrative of Black culture, which led to today. Yeah, we would never have the music we have if we didn't look at the trail in the past. Yeah,
I don't know about never. I just
that goes back
music
into the
we have
trends
today
and the
is rooted in it.
statistics
Okay.
as we go through history, right? The folded into that Damascus. What has it become today? Is it what we know of as this rock and roll culture? Because
we
that's
haven't
not what
retained
we
I can't
see
say
of
rock,
as
I
Black
can't say rock
culture.
and roll wouldn't exist. By the way, it's more like the rock and roll that we know. Is
Yeah, but
rooted
what's
in
fair.
Potato
in
saying?
Black
Fair.
history, yeah.
What the Potato saying, basically, he gets to the heart of the situation of the synopsis. He's basically saying that if what has Black culture retained, that is good, right? I think that's what you're getting at. I think that we've destroyed a lot of the good in the culture right now, and it's imploding on itself right now. And I think instead of waiting to see what would happen, we shouldn't throw money at it and just leave it to be. I think we should be proactive and engage and have debates like this and say that this is bad. We should remove this off of the planet and replace it with something else. I don't think what I'm saying is bad or crazy or self-destructive. Actually, it's conducive. It's out of the love for Black community that I want to eliminate this off the map and replace it with something more optimal.
Okay, well, now it's less disrespectful, but I do want you to understand that describing something is much different than prescription for it.
Yeah, I can
Something
offer
you probably should
prescriptions and describe it at the same time. Yeah.
Much in the same way fascism correctly describes a lot of the problems in liberal democracies, but the prescription of fascism is inherently self-defeating and fucking awful.
You mean like your debate with Andrew Wilson, kind of self-defeating? Hey, you know what? I kid. You know what? Let me stop. that was bad of me to say that. All right, let's continue.
Sure.
Yeah, with that, I pretty much leave it up to Tyler what we do from here. Like you said, that wraps up the debate. And as much as I would like to know a little bit more, I don't really have any questions to pin that down. So without changing the prompt, I think we're kind of at the end of the real debate.
Yeah.
So with that, I'll give it over to Tyler for him to tell us what he wants.
Yeah, thank you for your time, and thank you, Marte, for the debate, by the way.
Yeah, I appreciate it. I mean, no hard feelings, and I take nothing personal. I appreciate you showing up, and yeah, this is good. It was entertaining, and I enjoyed myself thoroughly. I appreciate it, man.
All personal. No, I'm trying. You're fine.
So I just asked, does anybody want to concede?
I think that's a hard pressed question there.
I don't hold grudges, but I am stubborn as fuck. I'm a Taurus. I was told a lot in my life. Okay, that's just how it is.
I mean, there is a lot of bull on your head.
I don't know what it means.
But so back to this, I think I saw one of your debates or some of your commentary when you're doing some debate prep. You can call me a darkie. It doesn't make me upset or anything like that. Matter of fact, I'll probably laugh it off more than anything else. And I think that's what we need to do. We need to minimize all this.
If you watch that, I was blown away that you let that guy say that. I was like, what the fuck?
I couldn't do anything because when you get kicked off of verbal combat,
yeah.
you can't get
I
on.
know, yeah.
You can't address.
You're kind of in a bad
Yeah.
position there. It's not like you can get mad and be like, motherfucker, meet me outside.
Yeah, but I don't take it personally when people call me coons or anything like that. What I do is I just change my behavior.
I mean, that guy was a
change
fucking
response.
loser, though, to be honest. He's a fucking loser.
Yeah, I'm the least emotional person when it comes to these things. So, anyways, yeah, good.
It was so out of pocket. I was like, what the fuck? Why did you just call him a darkie?
I missed that.
Hey, you're entitled to do this. And I think that white people should be able to say the N-word. It's becoming more of some cultural thing that's happening down south. You see this happen all the time. I laugh and, it's just a cultural norm and that's what's happening. But there are good things that happen in Black culture. But I think all of it should be obliterated. We should replace with something new. So that's why, even though, Tyler, you said, well, no, or Potato, you said it's too general. I don't think it's too general. When I say everything, I mean everything, because that's the reason why I said, what's the good thing that we should retain? Right? He mentions one thing. I'm like, well, then what are we really losing if we can replace it?
Personally, Marte, I'm going to, as a white man, I feel like people are entitled to do, playing the race card, people are entitled to say a lot and do everything they want, but they're also entitled to get their fucking ass kicked. So,
yeah, they can.
Well, and
I'm sure the guy went
that's
in person.
actually kind of the point of the debate, isn't it, though?
Yeah.
That's kind of the point of the debate, isn't it, though? Is people need to get their ass kicked
debate
again.
is a structured contest, a competition. So, not really. A debate is not about admitting you've lost. The debate is a contest. It's like if you're running the 400 and you're going to get beat by Michael Johnson in '93. You don't just stop running. You still run your race.
Oh, Michael
A
Johnson.
dialogue or a dialectic is a conversation where Marte and I probably after the debate could actually come to a more conversational truth. Like the truth is Marte doesn't actually know a lot of my positions right now because we haven't had a dialogue. A debate is a contest. You're trying to win.
Right.
I do these for fun because I have positions and obviously I bring lots of them, but they're meant to be a contest and practice skill and they can be fun and engaging.
Well, this can also be fun too and entertaining, but it's also to bring the subjects to the forefront so that we can have a little bit more clarity. Because here's the thing, though. He says that I don't know his position, but I know it better than before the debate. And if we talk about this, that's an inch moving forward than we would have gotten had we never had this debate. So,
yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And that's what we're trying to do.
I don't debate positions I don't believe in off of Horseradish's stream, but I debate all the time positions I actually have no faith in and don't believe in at all. And most people can't really tell. But I will say that when I debate off of actual contest, Horseradish has a really good style going on where it's more like what I experienced in person. I definitely can debate things that I don't believe in at all. It's kind of part of the debate skill. So
It's good. Yeah. It's good to have. Yeah.
Yeah, knowing what the opposition would say is just a
Mhm.
refinement.
good part of mediation.
Yeah,
Good part of understanding internal critiques for sure.
it's good to be able to defend both sides of the debate because I think it strengthens your position as well, too. So, there's that.
Yeah.
Too.
It can.
Yeah,
It can.
the
strengthen,
challenging
it
of
can.
ideas is what we're trying to do with our platforms, Tyler and I. We're trying to move the conversations forward, right? More of the dialectical, and I do appreciate the respect that we did have between the two debaters tonight. It could have gotten a lot worse than it did,
That was
and
fun.
I do want to
I
appreciate
called
the
him a darkie.
respect
No.
from each other.
No, I said you can't
Yeah.
call me that, and I wouldn't be upset because
Well,
Why don't-
that's just it. Is it's
you know?
just words? We need to get
I'm
away
not a
from
fucking
the
loser, though.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna
They're
do
just
that.
back to the
words.
sticks and stones.
Exactly. They're just
Exactly.
words, man. It's crazy. We're too sensitive as a culture. Going
I
back
agree.
to culture, yeah.
I agree. And I agree with you, Marte. There's a lot of parts of the culture that it does need to be demolished. And if there are good parts of that old culture, then bring them back. But it's just like the system at this point in time. Let's burn it all freaking down and let's start fresh. Because at this point in time, with the list and all of the crap that we have going on, it's time to just start fresh. And that may be what we need to do with the cultures in general, for that matter.
Yeah,
White, black, they're all trash anymore, it seems like.
I think right
This
now,
is a potato talking, right?
yeah.
I
But my
personally
point
think
being-
that. Oh, sorry. I didn't mean to
No,
interrupt
you're
you.
good. My point being is just everything needs to be just burned to crisp and start fresh. Who makes it? Makes it. What makes it? Makes it. Other than that, we need to start fresh on things.
Yeah.
That's all I had to say about the prompt, I guess. But I'm with both of you. That's why I tried to stay in the middle, because I do see a lot of black culture as what we use today. but it is no longer Black culture because they no longer adhere to it.
Yeah.
It's their culture, but they don't adhere to it. So
I want
that's
to point
the
out
thing.
that Marte himself is Black, obviously, right? You're Black, right, Marte?
My
Marte
dad
is
is
contributing
my dad's
to.
half Dominican and Black, and my mom's full Black. So 75% Black.
I'm not gonna ratio you, but if you're Black, it's Black.
Just saying.
But
I'm good at sports, and I live
Marte is
Watermelon.
an archetype of Black culture in the U.S. himself. You know, he's contributing to what we would call Black culture, which is why I find the prompt to be just annoying, because in a way, Marte is actively producing the product of what we would call Black culture right now. Even
Well, I'm counter to the majority of Black culture.
that is still contributing to Black culture.
Yeah, I'm
100%.
contributing to its
Counterculture
demise
is the
and its
contribution to
iteration.
culture.
Yeah, I'm contributing to its demise and its
Scene
iteration.
to pop, metal. I was very much in the metal, had hair down to here, fucking gnarly deathcore screamo shit. And we would go out. I would go out on stage, and play and like open for like Knights of the Abyss, local bands in Southern California. And it was all about who can fucking hit chugs and zeros the best. It was counterculture. Definitely is not separable from culture as a whole. It is a part of what we would call, I guess, suburban white culture. Counterculture is literally a reaction to the fact that it's mundane and stupid sometimes. So keep that in mind. You are contributing to it. And for me, I feel like the prompt is denying that in a way too. That's why I don't like it.
I like it because I think that an exterminator is counterculture to a bug infestation. So it's like, to me, I think there's relation to that. There's cause and effect. And I think that approach does determine a response. That's why I proceeded with this. And like a lot of the debates that I have around race relations and changing cultural narratives, that's what I seek to do, is to bring this conversation to the forefront, because guess what happens? If you have this conversation, Searkar, you get called a racist, you get called whitey and all this other stuff. Meanwhile, if I have this, I get called a coon. There's a incentivization to pull other people down. To what ends? I don't know why. It sounds like it's self-destructive.
I already told Tyler I get a special kind of catharsis whenever a Black person or like a LGBT person gets to tries to tell me I'm fucking gay. So I know I just a special catharsis comes out of me. Just be like, no,
I would never say that. That's going a bit too. I would never say that. That's an absolute claim. Crazy.
I'll hit you with literally the Black guy right now.
Yeah, but I would never make that statement though. That's ignorant, I think. Yeah, it's crazy.
What that type of statement? Yeah, I mean, it's a type of virtue
ridiculous.
signaling or a type of identity signaling that I just have no care for. I'm kind of crass in that regard. A little bit of an asshole, but it's fine.
Yeah, you're talking about the archetype of somebody who's a follower. I'm just doing this, but then when you dive down and peel the layers down, it's like they don't have any other reason why other than they just heard the things and they're repeating this. I think it's ridiculous.
And I think it
don't
does an
fit into
active
that
disservice
archetype, by the way.
to it. Yeah, it does. It does.
No, I don't.
Reclusive, what the fuck,
I'm going to
man?
close
You're
the
supposed
poll
to-
down, chat.
My decisions are informed by my ethos of Christian ethics and other things as well too. That's not by Black culture. So
What was that, Tyler?
You don't
said
think Black
something.
culture influences you at all?
I try to.
Oh, I
reject
Wait,
Black culture.
Marte. Didn't you just say earlier, and I do listen pretty well, Marte, that your
Do you?
I do. You said your relative was in the Black Panthers and the NDAAP, and that you remember a lot of anecdotal stories and history from him.
Yeah, my grandpa.
not
Yeah,
Black
he can
culture?
tell stories, but I can choose to. Now, here's the thing, though. We can choose to adopt certain things. My grandfather, that's a form of propagandization. If he tells me stories,
It's learned,
a form of influence.
which is the definition of culture.
Right.
Definition of culture.
That's also part of influence too. I can either reject this or accept this. Right. We make our own informed
Did you
decisions.
not accept any part of what your grandfather said?
I accept that's a part of history, but do I continue on with this my daily life? Do I react and respond according to that? No, I don't. I don't fearmonger and
I feel
use that
like-
as a
I
victim
feel
card
like-
like most Blacks people do.
I'm not saying you need to accept the, Black Panthers socialism aspect of leadership, which is kind of obviously true. But I mean, there are parts of Black Panther ideology that you could accept, like pick apart and go, I like the idea that they're not victims, which I know you do.
What
Right.
I do accept is the monastic traditions of Christians, and I accept what my Lord and Savior Jesus Christ says, and everything from the Orthodox Church's fathers. That's what I do. That's
Okay.
what I'll appeal to more than anything else, other than any other culture besides Christ.
But on a sub appeal, you don't like victimhood. I don't like victimhood.
I hate
Accountability
it.
to me is important. So Black Panthers, kind of in a way, their culture was we don't want to be victims. We're going to be violent about it, right? you may not agree with the means, but for better, for worse, aren't you kind of accepting a bit of that? Of no, we're not fucking victims. We're gonna take back stuff violently. Maybe you don't accept the violence, but
So you say I accept it, but then not the violence. Hold on, which is part and parcel with this? I can understand this, but let's kind of not, no pun intended, but segregate the two.
if culture was something you could just stamp into yourself and inherit, it would be very simple. But it's not. It's learned.
My
You get to
defiance,
choose.
my defiance to Black culture cannot be mapped onto what the Black Panthers did. Let's just get this straight. It's two
I'm
different.
not saying it is. I'm saying an aspect of the defiance of victimhood might be something more internal than you might think, because they did reject it. They rejected victimhood entirely. At a time when victimhood was
have a victimhood
very appealing,
comes from Christ, comes from me following Christ in my servanthood of doing this. That's where
that's
that
fine.
all
I'm not going to
comes
deny that. It's you, right? I can't say like, no, Marte, Christ is not where you. I'm just saying a little bit of it might come from that, because again, the Black Panthers, for all the things that I think they're stupid as fuck over, which they are, they did reject victimhood entirely in a time when victimhood was the most appealing. Like, it's been long enough.
Yes,
Look at all the slavery that happened, right?
Somebody going into your home and robbing you of everything, your valuables and goods, and taking advantage of your wife and all this other stuff is the opposite of victim mentality. But here's the thing, though. Let's get this straight. I could be a martyr, right? That's the difference between me and the Black Panthers. Is if somebody comes at me and they approach me with violence, and I try to approach in a speech, in speech, debate, things like this. That's the method that I'm approaching this with that, right? I can be a martyr any
Not
day.
every Black
Panthers don't
did
subscribe to
things
martyrdom.
like that.
That Black Panthers.
Not every Black Panther
the other
actually did those things, but I get your point.
No, there's a big difference. They'll put themselves in situations where they can say, see, that person provided an example of what you guys do to us. Now it justifies this. That's not what I'm doing.
Some leadership absolutely did. You're correct. Some leadership absolutely did. That is correct.
Yeah, well,
They felt like it was deserved.
I don't do setups at all. I don't do setups. I'm very transparent in my approach. Black Panthers, a lot of politics involved in that and everything else. This is a big, way broader subject when you bring up them. So,
I think politics is everything. I know that sounds kind of corny, but like,
no, it's true.
Politics is.
It's in the air we breathe, and it's involved in everything. That's why whenever we talk to people and people say on the first date you shouldn't bring up politics or religion, no, that's the thing that's probably going to break you up. Get this out of the way and get this at the forefront. It's involved in everything. I agree with that. But when it comes to this, I'm just making a distinction between me and the Black Panthers in our motives. That's all I'm saying.
No, I'm gonna. You know what? I'm gonna rename you Marte the Black Panther. Okay, is that okay?
If you're talking about the Marvel version, yeah, let's do that, bro. But the other one, no, let's not do that.
Wakanda forever.
It is a nice suit, Marte. I guess. I don't know. I see the IFBB there. I guess. Yeah, I'm assuming that means what I think it means, right?
Yeah, I'm training to qualify for the
I bet
elite.
the suit would look good if you want the suit, man. Go for it.
Yeah, I'm competing against the elite, justifying the Black narrative of people saying, well, I can't do this because of this, and taking a merit-based approach.
No, it's bodybuilding, right? I'm just saying the suit would look good. Marte, what the fuck?
Yeah. Well, I'm just saying, because there has to be some depth to this. I know it has to be entertaining, but yeah, just wanted to give you some facts there too.
Bro, send in your audition. They need a new one. Didn't he die? Oh, that's kind of fucked up.
Yeah, we have two different physiques. We look like the number 10 standing next to each other, bro. We look like a black and white TV on screen next to each other, too.
Wait, how tall are you, Marte? How tall are you?
5'5". Not the
probably can
tallest
squat.
guy.
You probably can squat and lift a lot more than me.
Yeah, I've been called a monster in Walmart several times. So yeah,
And Walmart.
By white people or black people?
everybody.
Oh,
I thought a woman
bro.
dropped her cup of water. It's just kind of weird. I stopped wearing tank tops a long time ago at Walmart.
He got offered to go in and audition for the Black Panther role.
Yeah,
The problem with that, Searkar, is they're replacing the Black Panther with a woman, right? That's the Hollywood wokeification of it. So
Right.
Maybe we do need to destroy some things. I don't know.
I think that's dumb. I think it's really stupid. But anyways,
Debate, or if it's real, bro, my opinion on that is why? Fucking stupid. Stop. But like,
yeah.
I don't know. Maybe an interpretation could be cool, but somehow I feel like this is going to turn into what you would expect, which is advancing something that isn't really about a cool interpretation anymore, right?
Yeah.
It'd probably be more about like something fucking lazy and stupid.
It's
My
so
guess.
usually if you see
If I Google this right now,
There's
If I
usually an
Google this right
agenda.
now, am I
Like
going to fucking
LGBTQ.
sigh audibly? Is that what's going to happen?
Well, there's usually an agenda like LGBTQ or some feminist agenda that they want to say because they feel like, we need an inclusive community. You have that. Matter of fact, you're overrunning everything to where you're ruining box office sales and plummeting them through the basement. Disney is good for doing this. They've ruined Star Wars and everything else. It's really bad.
Right.
They do have some bland characters in the new Star Wars. That's for sure.
They try to make Christ a black bald woman. Did you guys see that in New York in the play? That's crazy. This is just insane what they're doing.
Yeah. Freaking wild what they're doing.
That seems kind of historically accurate.
Ridiculous.
From way before that.
This is why counterculture is important for us to have these debates on Tyler TV and have the potato discuss these. I think that having competent discussion, even argumentation is good. I think that this needs to be done. And I think that this should be more prominent, but I think people are too afraid to get here and have verbal fisticuffs. When it comes to this, we need to have more discourse, appropriate discourse in having conversation.
Remember,
it solves a lot of
that cathartic feeling, the catharsis as it builds up in you when you can tell a bald lady that she's not Jesus and probably shouldn't audition for this.
This is exactly why I have my open panels on Thursdays, is for discussions rather than the heated debates. If anybody is watching this and wants to have an actual discussion, not a debate, that's what we have on my Thursday open panels for just that reason. There's so many people out there that want to have their piece spoken and they don't want to get into the ring with those fisticuffs, and I don't blame them. So that's what the entry level for the Fast Friday debates are. That's why we're doing this on Wednesday, not Friday, so we can still lure in those people that are amateurs and have those Friday debates. But again, the open panels on Thursdays, I still want to really push that out there so we have more discussions. And again,
I cruise around in open panels. I cause a lot of mayhem, though.
Yeah, I've noticed. But anybody is welcome on my panels as long as it can stay cool, calm, and collected. You are welcome on my panels, anybody that wants to join them. So I just want to put that out there. We're talking about it.
I'll show up.
Yeah, right.
I can't wait to be name called. It's gonna be great.
All right. So I think we're pretty good now, right? I think we got some sort of.
Marte, did you vote for Trump, by the way?
Yeah, I did.
I do something that's been bugging me lately. Okay, I mean, to me, I think Trump is not a Christian at all, but I do think he appeals to what Christianity is for a lot of people in this country. Right, it's a really real thing. But
I didn't vote for
recently,
Christian ethical stance. I voted because I think that the abortion rate is skyrocketing insane. And I think to vote against this from happening, anything we can have is a speed bump. And Trump presented that at least one critical point. And immigration was a good stance that I was firmly against, is closing up the border. The previous administration didn't do anything to embolden stopping this. So there were a couple of reasons why. Those are the two major reasons why: stopping mass casualty deaths from happening in clinics all the time. And then this issue, because I used to work for Homeland Security, the immigration issue is a massive issue we have. So, yeah.
It definitely was from 2021 to 2023. It definitely wasn't functioning that well. But regardless of that, I'm getting the sense that if you're an Eastern Orthodox, right, I feel like that'd be a pretty high value to you, right? As in things like not committing blasphemy. Maybe you know where I'm going with this.
Yeah, I know where you're going with that.
To me, recently, the thing that everyone was focusing on with Trump's recent tweet about the total annihilation thing. I don't know. I mean, maybe people think it's mocking, right? At the end, which kind of hard to infer. It may be, like a plea to his Saudi friends who are getting mad at him, or the UAE friends. But what is Trump saying? Praise be to Allah. I just kind of sneak by at the end of that recent tweet. Sit with this.
I think it's sarcasm.
What the fuck was that?
Yeah.
Get away with that,
And I
That
think
was a troll.
Trump was trolling. I think that's utter sarcasm.
Even in a mocking way, isn't that blasphemy in and of itself in the Eastern Orthodox Church? And there's no fucking way you can get away with doing that, right?
Hold on. We can say that we can make fun of Allah all we want because that's not the God that we worship. That's something else entirely different. Not the Trinitarian God that we have. It's completely different.
If I'm correct, I think the phrase Allah just refers to God.
It means God. It means God.
Dialect.
And they are an Abrahamic God believing religion, right? They do believe in the same God, technically.
I do
They all
believe
believe in
it's
the story
a
of
troll, though.
Abraham.
It certainly was a troll, in my belief, for sure.
And I will
Yeah,
say
I
something
would say
about
so.
Trump's
To me, it looks like he's
Christianity.
about to fucking don the robe and hit the like fucking wheelies in the Rolls Royces out there with the Saudis. I don't know, man. It's being fucking weird lately.
Well, I want to say one thing. I was thinking about this just over the last couple of days with the AI image that Trump posted, and everybody's like, "Oh,
That
he's
one too.
depicting himself
Yep.
as Jesus," but like, I didn't see a cross. I didn't see anything like directly religious in that post.
I mean, the hand on
It could
the
be cope. It could be cope.
is technically, like doing a
Laying on
ritual
of
that's in early Judaism, right? Like that's how you would anoint, how you would transfer in apostolic succession, right? You would have to do it on the forehead like that, right? Or when you heal miracles, but it is a little murky, I guess.
Right. That's one thing. And then I think the narrative became, oh, he's claiming to be Jesus. And then I looked at it closer, and they're like, oh, there's an evil demon with the horns on his head. But then you look at the Statue of Liberty
Well,
thing
the
next
eagle.
to it. It was the same sign as the Statue of Liberty.
Yeah.
We know how AI makes AI images. You know what I mean? So you might just settle with the best one that you can get. These type of
Plus,
things.
it looks like he's healing Hunter Biden. I don't know. It looked like Hunter Biden.
I saw Jon Stewart said, "Why does this look like me?"
I was like, what the hell was he curing her? Like the drug addiction?
I guess so. He was, that was his secret message of, I know whose cocaine it was in the White House.
Yeah, it literally looked like Hunter Biden to me. I mean,
I think in the grand
funny
scheme of things, it really, you're going to have a president that's more associated and becoming integral with our cultural part and relevance of AI participating in that culture and everything else. I do think that faux pas are going to be made, and he's just going to do things that are just like, maybe he should have thought about that more. Yeah, but that's minutia in comparison to like the reduction of illegal immigrants coming in and the bigger picture of the deaths at Planned Parenthood and all this and what we're talking about. So yeah, I mean, these are just things that they'll take a little bit and just run a mile with this, and that's always going to happen in any administration. So I don't scoff.
I'm going to present an interesting thought dialogue right now. Okay, I'm not really. I'm an independent, so when I say that, it means that I vote for whoever the fuck I want. Right now, obviously, I'm very much against the Trump administration. I think he's a fascist. I mean, you probably all saw my debate with Andrew. I think he qualifies for it diagnostically, and that's coming from someone who just studied fascism before I ever even cared about Trump, right? But
Sure.
Trump, to me, and I feel like this is kind of apparent in everything he does, is not really someone who cares about Christianity, right? I mean, he puts his name and adds additions to the Bible and the Trump Bible, which I'm sure we're all aware of Revelation, right? Anyone who adds words to this is committing probably one of the most unforgivable sins, right? I feel like
the majority didn't vote for him because of Christian ethics. You understand that, right? The majority of pollers.
I get that. I get
Right.
that. But I'm asking you, as someone who holds it as the highest value, and then in contrast, disregard all the other stuff right now. If the highest value right now is going to be Christian ethics, okay? You have someone like Biden, who, again, I don't really give a fuck about his religious identity here. He's a Catholic. Maybe that makes people a little upset because fuck sacrament, fuck the rituals, this shit sucks. But nonetheless, Mary is not, that kind of stuff doesn't matter.
I don't disagree.
He's pretty much been a lifelong devout Catholic who actually, in earnest, and I think we can say this with clarity and factuality, is a lifelong devout Christian who does not mock religion. So if Christian ethics is the highest here, I feel like, to me, this is a thought experiment right now. Is Christian ethics really your highest value right now? Because Trump, to me, and maybe this is me being dumb or maybe not missing it, but I feel like he mocks religion in a lot of ways.
He might.
So
my take on Trump and Christianity is I think he's just recently become a Christian. And so he has 70 plus years of being a crass New York businessman. And the repentance that we're called to do and turn from our ways and stuff is still new to him. But he's a baby in the eyes of his Christianity. And so I think that's why some of his opinions seem some of the posts seem maybe tone deaf or whatever deaf because
one of the most beautiful things about Christianity, right, is that idea of forgiveness. And it's not like I can really say that that's not true. I feel like it's the most positive part of Christianity is the idea that forgiveness is there for everyone. So I'm not going to directly say that what you're saying is not true because that is, in my opinion, just not correct. But to me, it does seem a little advantageous to him to suddenly as someone who's shown his entire life to be a malignant narcissist, to kind of lean into this when it's necessary, when it feels advantageous to his own personal game. But
Yeah, and
I
he is
do
the
want to
leader.
clarify that there's no way I can say that what you just said is wrong and false, because that's kind of unchristian, kind of fucked up.
I do got to say this, though. I do have to leave and bid you guys adieu because I'm starving, and fried chicken and watermelon sounds so delicious right now. I have a cold glass of grape drink right here. And
Yeah, keep that
we
culture
enjoy that.
around. Keep that culture around.
well, I'm
Sorry.
perpetuating that. That's just my appetite. My melanin compels me to eat fried chicken. I'm just telling you right now.
Is
Whether or
the
not
Popeye's apple
or
on your
not.
front home screen or what, man?
I've been craving
you right now.
Popeyes all
I
day.
love fried chicken.
Right.
Anyways, it's been real, and I appreciate you, Searkar, for at least being an opponent in the debate arena. Hopefully, maybe you can engage in the prompt next time. Not a shot at you. I'm just saying I just want more engagement. That's just my
I'll try.
opinion. That's it. So
It's difficult for me. I suck. So
no comment from me on that. But anyways, Potato, it's been real. I appreciate you having me on and being a good, gracious host. Tyler, Christ is God. I appreciate all you guys, and I'm out.
Hey, thank you.
Have a good night,
Hey,
man.
Yep.
what time is it for me actually too? 7:41.
All right, guys. Hold on real quick. Let me see if I can figure this shit out real quick. 2 seconds. All right. Wow, that was a crazy debate. I had to leave. Like, I was like, what are we doing here? We're just going to talk about like my body and bodybuilding and then like Trump. And I was like, whatever. I don't want to be locked up. It's like the whole thing. And it's like, you're not in here. I'm locked in here with you guys too. It's like, I'm just like, I just wanted to escape a little bit. And plus I didn't want to stay here forever. Right. How did you guys like the debate? Hopefully, I brought some blood for you guys, and hopefully I did decent enough for you guys to be entertained. Searkar, what a wriggly human being. That guy just didn't want to engage the whole debate. I feel like he just didn't want to debate. That is crazy. Literally asked this guy questions on the whole debate and wouldn't want to answer a single damn question. I had to repeat the question like 5 or 6 times for him to actually answer this and engage. Knew this was going to happen. I knew he was going to disengage the whole debate. Crazy. I had to literally repeat this and appeal to the moderator to hold him down on a certain question. And I was like, do I got to call 911 for you to answer a question? This is ridiculous. Anyways, Black culture should be eradicated in its whole entirety. I'm not talking about the people. I'm talking about the habits we have, the patterns that we integrate into our culture, and what we accept. Black culture doesn't put our foot down and refuse to accept the bad stuff. We don't do this. We don't refuse the bad stuff. We accept it. The hoes, 304s, baby mamas, crime, all this other shit. I just want that to stop. Destroy it all. I agree with the Potato when he said, it all should be burned to the ground. Good. What was the resurrection? Destroy it so it can be resurrected and something better be in its place. We do this in debates all the time. I'll destroy this guy's argument and his worldview gets evaporated. What happens? It's going to be replaced by something better. Hopefully it's more optimal. And that's what I want to do to Black culture. We should destroy this whole shit. Matter of fact, congrats to Tyler and the Potato for holding down good moderation. I had to moderate a little bit in my debate as well, too, and say, answer the damn question the whole freaking time. Searkar, can you answer the freaking question? Oh, you're just going to not talk and answer the question? I literally had to say this during the whole debate. It's crazy. I knew the debate was going to go this way, and I knew I was going to have to nail him down on certain questions because he was going to be squirmy. Mr. Squirmy over here. Crazy. I don't know. The mods held it down. Hopefully I held it down and entertained you guys. I appreciate let's read the super chats real quick. I appreciate everybody in their super chats and supporting the show. If you guys want to support better equipment so that way I don't malfunction the whole time during debates, I have some debates coming up and also some podcasts coming up with Cool Vic. Support your local debater, support me, and help me get out of this degenerate Black culture and help me fight for Christ and Christian ethics. New member. Miss D just became a YouTube member. You can become a YouTube member too. If you guys want, I have memberships that you guys can purchase. Those are always good. And I appreciate anybody purchasing memberships whenever you can. Also, you guys can send super chats too, but memberships would really be good. Gift a membership to somebody and somebody you know. We have new emojis. I just created some new emojis so that way you guys can use. One of them is a fried chicken. Yes, I have a fried chicken emoji for my channel as well too, and I have a coon emoji. You guys can use the coon emoji to call me a coon anytime you want to. I get called in anyways by my black opponents and debates anyways. I mean, it's going to happen. Also, yes, like I said, send in the super chat if you guys can. It's gracious, helps us keep the lights on and helps me, a student in trade school right now, continue on this debate path and entertain you guys and bring you guys more substantial content.
We've decided to listen to your record.
Crazy. That sounds like a Dre beat, actually. So I appreciate everybody for donating. Also, here we go. Starting off with the evening super chats. Cool Vic sends in $4.99. You're kicking ass, Marte. Cool Vic, where's that cent at? $4.99 and not a complete $5. Does YouTube take a cent? I'm getting robbed in broad daylight here for 1 cent. You're kicking ass, Marte. Everybody hit that like. Yes, everybody hit that like if you can. Here we go with Real World Radio leading the charge with $20. Get him, Marte. Searkar has weak man syndrome. Yeah, looking at his frame, he even admitted, I bet you can bench more than me or lift more than. Yes, I can, bro. With one arm, I can lift more than you can with two. That is indubitably correct, for sure. From Bumbly sends in $1.99. I appreciate that, man. Very impactful for you to send anything for me. This helps me motivate towards getting new equipment, motivate myself towards getting more new equipment. So that way I'm not a brokey with a stupid microphone. Abby sends in $10. W for Marte. I appreciate this. Yes, another debate W. I'm going to post the stats later. This debate's probably going to be reviewed by Cool Vic. I'm going to post it up later. This is entertaining for me as well, too, just to do these debates. I appreciate you guys supporting me and sponsoring me throughout the super chats. From Bumbly says, good shit, Marte. Thanks a lot for the $4.99. I appreciate it. There's all these other things that are just slight $5. It's like they take $1. I don't know what venue we're using, but we're using super chats. Anyways, you guys can become a member today, and it'll help you out a whole lot. Oh, here we go. New member from Abby. She goes ahead and signs up for a new membership. I appreciate that. Let's get this rolling again. Let's freaking go. Another new member for tonight. Abby. Oh, shit. Here we go. Another. I don't even know what to say or where to start. Your gracious host, Marte. I appreciate it, man. I don't even know what to say. I'm speechless because of this. This is pretty badass. Thank you to Abby for sending in memberships as well, too. Let's get this on the screen real quick. Abby sends out 10 memberships. Relentless. Oh, shit. Here we go. I wish I had like a horn to play or something like that. This is crazy. You guys are amazing. Thank you. Thank you for so much. Yes. Super chats abound for sure. Call the police because there's a reverse robbery happening with super chat. I appreciate it with all you guys and what you guys are doing tonight with the super chats. Major W, Gabby with the 10 super chats. She gifts the 10. And then we have Relentless with the 10 gifted memberships. Thank you so much. Oh, here we go with the Marte OT face. W from Bumbly. Yes. There we go. Yes. Big W. I want you guys to send Abby W's and fried chickens in the chat. If you, oh shit. If you guys ever become members, there's fried chickens you guys could throw in the chat. Pretty hungry chatters out here, but thank you for everybody else for tuning into this podcast. This was a very entertaining debate. I'm glad you guys enjoyed yourself. I damn near did too. I look forward to another debate. There's probably going to be, I'm going to be honest with you guys. Searkar wants another debate with me. I don't know what the prompt is, but I'm going to let you guys know. I'm thinking about whether or not I should do another debate with Searkar. If he's going to become avoidant in this whole debate that I'm going to be having, I don't know if I really want another debate with Searkar if he's not going to engage in the prompt. Mind you, remember this whole debate. Just think through this whole debate, which is going to be posted, and then Cool Vic's going to review this debate. He did not rebut the whole prompt anytime throughout the whole debate. Not one time did he refute anything regarding the prompt or to say this is why it should not be destroyed. He never said that. He just said, no, you can't destroy it. That was your whole argument, this whole debate, Searkar. So if you're paying attention to this, have a refutation or rebuttal next time you do this debate. So that way you can't take any more L's, because I did see the chat. 80% at one point, I was winning the debate. But anyways, you guys, it has been a pleasure. I appreciate this. Thank you, Abby and Relentless. Matter of fact, you guys, throw some W's in the chat for Abby and Relentless, my fearless mod, in the chat. I appreciate your engagement and thank you for supporting me. I'm going to have more debates in the future. You've motivated me to do another one. I'm going to contemplate debating Searkar, whether or not I want to debate this guy or not. I don't like debating people who don't want to engage in prompts. That's not too entertaining to me. Even though this was an entertaining debate, I had fun. Maybe I'll do another one with Searkar. Who knows? Let me deliberate this on a few days and find out, because that's crazy. The guy who wouldn't engage at all, it is crazy. We'll see. Let me bring this down. Another debate with Searkar? Yeah, pass. I think so too. I think I might want to pass on that too. So we'll see. But anyways, yes, chat's great. Relentless says, Abby, awesome W's. I appreciate it. Anyways, I'll talk to you guys soon. Christ is God. Thank you for supporting me. Massive W's tonight for the massive support with super chats and memberships. W once again to Relentless and Abby once again, and everybody else who donated as well too. The super chats, major positive. But anyways, I'll talk to you guys soon. Christ is God. You guys have a safe evening. Tell your loved ones, God bless for me and everything else. It's been a pleasure. I'll see you guys soon. As soon as I can do this.